Sorry, I'm starting off wrong. Everybody needs to speak into the mic so they can hear us, please. And the mic should be on. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Midtown Redevelopment Board, Tuesday, September 13th. And I'd like to welcome the board. Thank you all for coming, and staff. And we have a new young lady who's taking our minutes. I forgot your name. Jessica. This is Miss Jessica, and we're glad to have you. And sometimes we get a little fierce around here, so just write fast. All righty. Can we have the roll call, please?
Shirley Benjamin.
Here.
Kenny Dean.
Here.
Denise McMillan.
Here.
Johnny Ponder.
Here.
Miss Ivy.
Here.
Patricia Hurd.
Here.
Okay. We have a quorum, and so we can continue. The next item is the approval of the minutes for August 9th.
Ma'am.
Do we have any corrections? I know I have one.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Miles is spelled.
Miles is misspelled. Okay. Do you know what page that is?
Close to the back.
Okay.
Where the board is,
Board comments are?
Yes, 13, page 13. Please.
Page 13 for correction. Any more?
You said you had some.
Yeah. Professor Hoffman's name is H-U-F-F instead of Hoff, H-O-S, or whatever it is. Any more corrections, board, or staff?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the minutes with the changes.
second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. The minutes have been accepted with the changes. Okay. Staff report, code enforcement. Chief Chitwood has just joined us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here to hear the code enforcement report.
Oh, okay.
You're here to protect me, I know.
Good evening.
Hello.
Well, we have, we spoke before about the lot cleanings. There's still an emphasis on making sure that the lots, vacant lots in the city is mowed. As you see in vacant lots on MMB and Quiche on the corner, vacant lot was mowed by the city, and it has been maintained. Also, lots on the south side of the city, Main Street and MLK, Live Oak and Division, lots there that's been corner lot that's been high grass for a long period of time, has been moved by the city as well.
Okay, this one on the first page, the MMB in North Key Street,
Yeah,
I don't see a whole lot of difference.
well, there's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
The lot has been mowed.
It's on the second page. You see the difference.
Okay.
As well as debris, there was debris there and has been picked up.
Okay.
Also on Live Oak and Division, corner lot has been mowed by the city. These are lots throughout the city that's been either sent notice to the owners, they've had mowed to cure the violation, or the city has attended to cure the violations on these vacant lots. And that's our main objective, is voluntary compliance. If not, the city will attend to these vacant lots and keeping them maintained.
Okay, how much is it for them to maintain it, the city?
And money-wise, it could range from $100, $200, depending on the size of the lot. It's a lot of variables that go into it that I don't have that information currently. Our main objective is not to mow the lots, but if the citizens are not inclined to comply with the city, then we will take the initiative. our main objective is for the citizens to comply. Also, a lot of flyers that we have seen in the past being posted on utility poles, our storefronts has been cured. I've spoken with owner of the Coliseum, which is the main culprit of these flyers throughout Midtown, and he has so far complied. Usually around the BCU area and MLK area, we've seen a lot of these signs. Also a lot of snipe signs, really. Junk vehicles is another issue that we're trying to attend to here, and as you see on 201 South MLK, the vehicle has been removed with the assistance of the Daytona Beach Police, having these vehicles removed. Throughout the city, we're having junk vehicles that are being in single-family residence, either in the backyard or on the side yards, and we are attending to those problems, having these vehicles removed voluntary. Again, our main objective is to have voluntary compliance. 244 Jefferson Street is a street. This property here has been mowed by the property owner. He has come into compliance, and that's what we champion on, is having voluntary compliance from the citizens, and we need more of that throughout Midtown, is the citizens to comply with code enforcement. Jefferson Street is a street that has been attended to, along with Fulton, Rose, and Garden Street, keeping the properties, vacant lots mowed, keeping the properties maintained. It's a task, but code enforcement has passed through the areas and wrote numerous violations and worked with the citizens in the area to assist us. And that's basically the main objective, is to have the citizens work with us to keep their property or their section that they own in compliance. And currently, right now, we're working on the south side, MLK, your south, Cedar Street, those streets along those corridors there in the interior, to bring into compliance. I know MLK with Charles Bryan, there was some homes there that have been demolished and sodded, and the vacant lot has been sodded, so we're working on that, keeping the area maintained. That's our main objective.
Thank you. What process are you using in obtaining the cars that are parked in the backyards, backed in?
What kind of process?
Yes.
Well, our process, if we could see it from the right-of-way, or if we could see it from an adjacent property, a citizen, for example, would allow us onto their property to see the vehicle. We'll take a picture, send a notice to the property owner, and like I said, main objective is to have them remove the vehicle. If not, we'll work with our liaison, police liaison, to assist us in removing and towing the vehicle.
Thank you. You'll be hearing from
I have
me.
a question. The property that's behind Buck Gun Place, I think it's a restaurant. You all need to check that, because they really need to clean that place up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay, because it's ridiculous. It's a disgrace.
Okay, we'll check it out.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes. When we're sitting there dealing with code enforcement, as we sit back and look at
Use your mic.
how we're actually trying to make a more of a commitment to the cleanliness of Midtown, particularly our quarters. And I noticed in your report that we did not have anything dealing with ISB, particularly when you come across in front of Bethune-Cookman, we're dealing with the that site that they're building that's really not kept safe, and on top of it not being kept safe, it's not being kept cut on a regular basis. That's one site that you need to look at. The other site that's not showing on there is the Orange Avenue site, where we talked about Mr. Birch, which is the 840-something, 836 Orange Avenue. Is that on, that's on your report? Okay, and then on the, we still having those same problems that I think Captain Capri probably going to address, dealing with some properties on Haynes Avenue that I talked to Mr. Bryant about, that's really becoming a major nuisance.
Well, the nuisance and,
Well, I mean, when we somebody looking at the properties that we're trying to deal with and keeping our areas, safety is what we're focused on. Safety, dealing with the cleanliness and different things like that. I think you're really starting to do a much better job on that. But there's certain areas that I really would like for us to concentrate on. That's dealing with our main quarters.
yeah, and I'll give you a brief detail on 836 and the adjacent vacant property next to 836. There's currently fines running on that property, as well as a case issued for the debris that's throughout that property to be removed within the 15 days, which it should be coming up now, as well as the Haynes, which is a property on the corner of Haynes and Orange. It should be coming up for hearing, request a hearing for the debris. The lot has been cleaned up by by the property owner. It's been cleaned, but still have the 2x4s on the, used as seats, if you will, on the trees, which is still debris, and that's why I'm going to categorize it in the board. It should be in the next board meeting in October.
Any more questions?
Question, Madam Chair. What is the law concerning sidewalks that run in front of residential property with the grass beds that butt up to the street?
But the property owner is responsible for that area. It's the parkage area and the sidewalk, yes. He has to mow his property as well as the parkage area.
But it's not enough space to park. There's a subdivision across from Butts Archaeological Park. I went in there Monday morning and I drove around. That's Kathy Street, Laura. It's
Is that Midtown? That's not Midtown.
so that's where the line. That side isn't. Okay. My next question concerning the cost of what it costs the city to take care of these lots when the owners don't comply, considering the recession, and we have a lot of people that are qualified landscapers and lawn maintenance people. Do we have a program in place to where there are bids? If not, these people can be put on the list, and when the city can't get out to cut them in a timely manner after the property owners have been notified, there are a lot of people looking for work with lawnmowers that have the equipment that have their licenses. My question is, within Midtown, is there a program in place where we can bid and these people can go out and cut these lots so that it can relieve some stress off of the city, which I don't know if it stretches them thin, but I think that would be a benefit to the citizen economically, and it would help the city on the other end.
I'll answer that for him. The city does contract outside of Public Works to have lots cut. The process is you have to come down, go through purchasing, fill out their information. You have to have all the insurance requirements of this that's requested of the city in order to take part in that program. The problem that we have a lot of people around cutting grass and doing things of that nature, but as you recall, last year I had basically a workshop on how to do business with the city, where we had purchasing, we had permits and licensing there, so they could come and find out the correct process to be on that list. If you're not on that list, if you don't have the correct information, the correct insurance requirements, then you can't participate in that program. So, that's one of the problems that we have. But they do contract outside the city because the city realized we can't keep up with the grass in the area. So they do have contractors that do that.
Madam Chair, concerning the properties, just off the top of your head, Reed, Charles, we have a lot of vacant properties. We board them up. We have a lot of vacant properties that we have to beautify. Just guessing, how many of the owners of the property are citizens, residents of Daytona, or are the majority of these properties that sit vacant year after year, they sit overgrown, are they down south, North Florida, out of state? Because looking at a lot of property owners that rent here in Midtown, a lot of them don't live in Volusia County. So my question is it just the process we have to go through to get them to be compliant? Or it's just hard for them to respond back, or they never respond back?
Most of the Midtown is a high rental community.
Yes, it is.
Many of these properties are owners that are out of town, either Orlando or out of the state of Florida. Many of the citizens that own property in Daytona are as far as California. So we have to issue them a notice violation per Chapter 162. Again, try to obtain voluntary compliance, but some of the investors that have properties here don't have someone here to maintain these properties. They don't have family members, if you will, friends or someone to attend to it within a timely manner. It usually takes 30 days to cure a violation.
So they would rather pay the fine than take care of the property in a timely manner?
No, that's not what I said, but it takes a bit more time than normal to attend to a property.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Board? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to have Captain Capri come up. He's not on the agenda, but he's going to come up and speak to us.
Good evening. Things are looking good. My knee hurts. All right. Things are looking good in Midtown as far as a law enforcement standpoint. We've cleared up a lot of burglaries in the area on Orange Avenue. We arrested a gentleman that was responsible for about 30 burglaries we're going to clear in the area within our city and other cities. I took a ride through Midtown today, as a matter of fact, and it looked good. I saw the vacant houses that were raised over there on right there by Marco and South King. Those abandoned houses have been there for years that back up to the lot at South and King, and that looks good, by Pastor Rico Brown's church. So hopefully they can do something with that. It's been actually we talked about Orange and Haynes being an issue. I'm hoping maybe you guys can buy that lot. We could do something with it. That would help us out tremendously. We're not getting any help from the owner of the property there. He seems just not to care. So we're doing our end from an enforcement end. We're arresting them for anything we can, and we're shipping them to jail. We're not giving them a notice to appear. We're making them go out to the jail on city ordinances just to send a message. We've put the mobile command post out there, and we're just trying to clean it up. We've also have code enforcement, like the code enforcement officer said, is addressing some of those issues at that lot, and we've identified a couple houses on Haynes Street that we're working from a narcotics end and a code end. So, other than that, I'll open up for questions right now.
Any questions, board?
Question.
Yeah.
Who said?
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Back to school, I had a lot of residents question me concerning Keach Street.
Mm-hmm.
They said it was a speed trap. I said it's not a speed trap because there are signs posted that say school zone
Yes.
2 blocks back. My question is, what does it require to have a flashing light for that hour before and after school to alert the residents in Daytona Beach, Florida? I've driven around, and every school zone has a flashing caution light.
You're talking about by
except
Campbell,
for-
right, ma'am?
But it needs to come all the way up, just about up to Orange Avenue, because you have Wonderland Daycare,
Mm-hmm.
then you have the Volusia County Southeast Head Start Center, VPK, then you have the old abandoned parking lot, and then you have Campbell Middle, and then as you turn, you have Turie T.
T,
Turie
yep.
T has them. But for the amount of people coming from Daytona
you.
Gardens,
Yes?
across International, that walk, because I was a victim of a $379 ticket. My daughter got one for $389, no seatbelt. Just
Well-
caught. I mean,
We've had several police officers get tickets too for running red lights with red light cameras. They had to pay them too.
well,
$158. So yeah, I know it's bad, but. you gotta
and
get
in the
compliance.
first week it was horrible. I felt so bad because I'm like, they just bought school clothes, and here are the cops, and they're popping them as they come down. So my concern is, what's the process? Do we go through the city, the school
Well, I'll get a hold of
board?
the traffic engineering director and see if he can do a study on that to see if we can get one put in there and look at it.
Because
I'll
you have
contact him tomorrow.
Votron comes through,
Yeah,
the school buses, and then the parent drop off and pick up
I'll
after.
go with Mr. Markham tomorrow. I'll send him an email and see if we can do a study and see if we can get one put in there. It's a good idea. I think it needs one there. So,
Any more, Ken?
I have-
sir.
We have a convenience store on our agenda. We have a convenience store, the approval of a site plan for a convenience store on our agenda this evening. And my recollection is that we've had some discussions with respect to the incident of, I'll refer to them as unfortunate incidents in the neighborhoods, typically in the neighborhoods of convenience stores. Could you enlighten us a little bit on what that might be?
I don't know what you're trying to ask. I mean, if they put a convenience store somewhere, is there going to be problems? I can't predict that. I don't.
Well, what existing ones?
We haven't. Where are you talking about specific locations?
All of them in the district.
I don't think we've had any major issues at convenience stores. You're going to have your occasional unfortunate, your robberies, which we pretty much are working pretty good on that, clearing a lot of those up. You're going to have people, as long as the businesses get on board from the front end, as far as putting the no trespassing signs, the no loitering signs, police their own areas if people are drinking out front or loitering out front and they're not selling drugs out there, and they get on board, because if they don't get on board, we're going to come after them and hit them in the pocketbook, and they usually tend to get on board, is my point. I don't think it's something that I could say that we've had a lot of problems at convenience stores.
Okay. It is, for a long time, it has been the concern of this board that the loitering that seems to be attracted to the convenience stores leads to problems in the neighborhood.
And the problem, as long as the business owners get on board from the beginning and work with the police and have an understanding that you're going to have to work with the police as far as putting your signs up, not letting people trespass on your property, loiter on your property, don't let them sell drugs, don't make it a place where people can congregate, then I think it's fine. But if they don't, we're just going to come after them anyway, and we're going to make sure they get in compliance. Either going to do it in the front end, or they're going to do it in the long end, and they're going to pay for it. So I think if I was opening a new convenience store, I would be partnering with the police department right off the bat to get on board and find out exactly what they want us to do, so that way I can avoid getting hit in the pocketbook, because we will come after you in your pocketbook as much as we can if you don't get in compliance. We'll send the mobile command post down there, we'll put police officers out there, and we'll just start writing and hammer and hammer and hammer until you get on board. That's the only way we're going to get compliance, is if you get on board. And usually if you hit somebody in their pocket, they tend to get on board real quick. But I would encourage new businesses to come into Midtown. I think the community could use convenience stores. So people that don't have access to vehicles, that live in there, that may want to go down and get milk or something like that. I mean, I don't want to, that's me personally.
Thank
Any
you.
more-
Nope, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
No, and Mr. Abbey, thank you for helping us out on that incident over at a couple weeks ago, over at the construction site. I appreciate it. You helped us out with the lights and everything like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll see you next month.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Sean.
Chief, do you have anything to say, or you going to hobble out? Good night. Okay. All right.
Taking my journalistic hat off. James Harper, 429 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You know, what I want to say is this on? I kind of felt bad for those businessmen that came here to ask for their approval, because following a format is important. And as far as discussion goes, you all discussed during this meeting. That's what you are here to do, to discuss what is presented before you. To table it when they had already did everything that they were told to do according to the law was not fair to them. So unfortunately, they got into the middle of what you all are trying to do down the road, because you all don't want any more convenience stores. But that's not their fault. Having said that, you should have just voted up and down. If you would have voted down, you should have just said, no, we're not approving it. Then they would have been able to go through their appeal process. To continue it was just, and then you're going to vote yes or no down the road, made no sense, because then they would have had an avenue to do their appeal. Now, also in reference to you all not being prepared for what they present to you all on Thursday, again, you're appointed to this committee. It's an honor to be on the committee, I'm assuming. Some of you have been on the committee for years. So you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Sunday, whatever. You got 3 days. So the fact that you decided you wanted to be on this committee, then you've got to find the time to be prepared when you come here on Tuesday. I mean, I know you have jobs, some of you retired, etc. Finally, that's on you all, and I know what you got to do, But on staff's part, it's their fault that they are not meeting with you all prior to the meeting. Because if I understand, the city commission meets with the city manager before each meeting every week individually. Isn't that what the city manager does with each city commissioner prior to the city committee meeting? On the following Wednesday, he'll meet with them on Friday individually to go over everything that's going to be coming up in the meeting. So, I mean, Reed or Charles should, Mr. Berger or Mr. Bryant should meet with you all individually prior to your meeting on Tuesday to answer any questions you may have on the upcoming agenda. You only meet once a month, so he should be able to find a day, either Friday or Monday, to meet with each of you individually for a half hour or an hour to answer any questions you may have that are going to be on the agenda the next day. So I hope there was some suggestions that you will consider. I respect everything you all do, so recognize that, because I know you're trying to make a change, and change doesn't come easy. So thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Kathy?
Time to go. Madam Chair and Board, my question,
Your name?
Kathy Washington, 937 Lockhart Street. I have a question. Was the presentation tonight from those two individuals the first time you all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then my question is this. Why was there not a conceptual plan presented before the site plan was presented?
Does not meet the requirement for a conceptual plan. It has to be over 20,000 square feet.
Okay.
We go through this every time somebody.
Okay.
But they came to you all.
That was my next question. How did they go to the planning board before they came to Midtown?
That's true.
Is that not out of order?
They went on the text amendment item just to speak on it. They didn't come to the planning board as an applicant. So they were just there interested in that discussion.
It sounds to me like the cart was, when I'm sitting in the audience and we voted on this, so it didn't appear to me that it was just presentation. It was approved, but I'm really at a loss for it to be the planning board before it came to you when it is in your area first. I thought the procedure was that it came to that area board prior to getting to the planning board.
Madam Chair.
So too. Hold on. What?
I was confused with the presentation tonight.
Okay.
And I can understand your disappointment. And I'm really wondering how they skipped you, the community, to come to the planning board for anything without speaking with you all first. To me, that's a little out of order. But knowing that they didn't have to do a conceptual plan, I'm back to square one. I would think it would come here before it went to any other board.
Thank you,
Madam.
Ms. Cathy. Anyone else have? Yes. sir.
Reverend Victor Gooden, 809 Pelican Bay Drive, Daytona Beach, Florida. I do not live in Midtown. I work in Midtown. I have church members in Midtown. Very concerned because what I see is not a great percentage of what I call ROI, which is an accounting term that means return on investment. In order for Midtown to grow, there's got to be a level playing field. In order to have a level playing field, there's got to be a transference of the wealth that's available. And so I concur with you. There needs to be a transference of monies over here because you can't do nothing without money.
Amen.
Biblically, Jesus said more about money than he did about salvation. Over 2,500 scriptures about economic development, but only 500 about salvation and prayer and faith. So when we look at that disparity in scripture, even from the Bible, I come back to this, because if there's not enough funds to operate, then we're never going to get the businesses to come in here. And I agree with Mr. Hump on the point that I think these gentlemen with the convenience store kind of got caught up in your frustration to do the right thing, because you're the gatekeepers for us, and you're doing a good job on being gatekeepers. But keep your eyes open that you don't get out of focus trying to keep the gates one way or the other, and somebody else get penalized in the midst of it. But the main thing is integrity of process. Now, that's what concerns me about everything I heard tonight. When I say integrity of process, I don't know why the Midtown Board cannot get an entire budget. I don't know why that's a hard process. And I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm just being straight up honest. And I don't know why all the budgets of all the boards are not shared with all the boards. Because if there's money in one redevelopment area for something, some kind of way, there's got to be some funds here. And I keep using the word money because that's the optimum thing here. Because without money, you can't do nothing. There's nothing you can do without money. You can't run a church, you can't run a school, you certainly can't run a city without funds available. And my concern is the integrity of the whole process. And it seems to me like you don't have enough information to be cognizant. Cognizance is based upon available information. And if available information is not there, you can't be intelligently aware of how to be ubiquitous about a certain situation. And the word ubiquitous means everywhere at the same time, which is supposed to be, as our gatekeepers, we want to hold you to that. But the real issue is that integrity process. Why can't be a level playing field that everybody sees what everybody's budget is, so that you will know how much you need to do it. So as a citizen, whatever I need to do to help push the process, I'm available to do it. I don't mind doing it, because we need the monies for improvement. When I look at Midtown, 50 so convenience stores and all of that, and I look at other redevelopment areas, we just don't have it. When I look at other redevelopment areas, we don't have the kind of problems that we have in here. And my last thing is this: whether you want to believe it or not, environment is based upon money. If you can't afford to stay in a good neighborhood, then your child has to be raised in an environment in a bad neighborhood. It doesn't make you a bad person, but if you don't have money to get out the neighborhood, you're stuck. And we don't want Midtown as a dump area. When I look at Martin Luther King Boulevard, I'm just appalled that the work Dr. King did, and that's the way we're going to keep his street. It bothers me that Midtown has to be the whipping post. So call this my sermon, call this my lecture, but it just bothers me that we can't get the same things in that venue that we have in other venues. And if we can bring those things to Midtown, maybe we can show more than a statue on a documentary.
Good evening. I'm here for Kenrick Flowers. Madam Chairperson, I'm here for 600 in the convenience stores and the car wash. What do y'all really want for us to beautify, to do some, what do y'all need us to do to make the car wash, the convenience store? You said clean up the place. What do you mean by clean up the place?
I can start here, Ms.
That would take so long.
First of all, I'll let someone else talk about the landscaping and everything. And you do not have any control over this, Mr. Kendrick, okay? But the number of people that hang out, you be inside doing your thing, they're on the side, out there parked, 3 and 4 cars just hanging out. And that goes back to the ownership. They're hanging out, they're not going in the store buying or anything. So right now, it's part of a hangout.
Do you know many students Cookman have?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But
where those kids actually sit, they sit on Cookman property. A convenience store that get 300 customers per day to compare to 15 to 1,600 customers a day is different from sitting there. You got to run outside. If you get 20, 30 people in your store, it's our problem and it's Cookman problem. Okay. I can't go and tell them get off Cookman property. If I tell them get off my property, I can't. Where they gonna go? Sit on Cookman stuff right there. I can't go and tell them to leave off Cookman property. Period.
So you're saying that the west side of the store belonged to Bethune-Cookman?
It's between Cookman and us. Those kids, you chase them off, you call the police.
Okay,
they gonna come right
well,
back.
I did not know. But what about they sitting on the curb on the platform of the store?
What curb?
The platform of the store as you go in.
The sidewalk. Okay.
Is it? I wouldn't call that the sidewalk. That's the porch, not the porch, but the entrance to the business. There, you have to step up and go in the store, and they sit there all of the time too.
If a student come in there and they buy $1 tea for them, they're not gonna walk right back and go to class, or they're not gonna walk right back and go to school. They're gonna talk and they're gonna socialize and do what they got to do. They're in college. They finish with class, that's what they're gonna do. If you tell them get off the property, 10, 15 minutes later, they're gonna come back, well, all I need is chip. They right back right there again. Those same students, what do y'all want us to do?
Madam Chair, I think the first thing that needs to be done is that you need to contact the police department to make sure that the signs are posted.
We have signs.
And if they're not being respected, you call the police. This packet we have is nothing but convenience stores. And behind this picture of the store, this is how many police calls this one property has. So if you keep calling enough for them,
you can't call because
no, I understand, because after so many calls, they start charging you. But what you have to do is, that's a job creation for someone that needs a job, that can just be on the outside and just say, listen, once you made your purchases, you purchased gas. If you want this building to stay in compliance with the city and stay open, you know, let's not make this a hangout spot. Sometimes we have to go back and educate before we just go straight to the point of solving that problem. They know that it's close to the store. We're going to walk up the street, and I might see somebody I haven't seen since 2 days ago. And we have to remember they're still kids. Young adults. And you hate for your business to suffer, but it comes down to the business owner being held responsible. The property he's talking about is where Bethune-Cookman came to us last month and asked for approval for that additional parking, and it's where the traffic is going to come off MLK and turn behind the station and leave that parking lot from the Performing Arts Center. So, yes, that's their property. But I think enforce it with the signs.
We have signs up there.
I mean, enforce it meaning have someone out there to say, this is a business, you can't hang out, this sign is posted, if the police come, they'll give them a trespassing warrant. Yep.
No, they don't hang out at checkers.
No. But other than that, you know, your menu's great. You do a fantastic job. You're one of the good places in the community where we can get our vittles. But just like we told the guy with the car wash that stays open at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock you're not washing cars. Well, when I go home, I can't be held accountable if they, you have to be held accountable because that's your business. And that's what it goes back to, the business owner being responsible for what happens on his property.
Also, when you mean cleanup, you mean about the students or the customers?
You're responsible for whatever happens on that property as well as the other guys that own it with you. Whoever is business-wise through the city, they're responsible for that property. And the other thing is, if you really want gas, sometimes you can't get gas because people just park and get out and talk. You can't get to the pumps.
My thing with cleanup, as we have discussed many times, is the way that it looks inside. I was there this morning. It looks better, but you know me, I want it to be clean. I want it to be appetizing when I go in there. And like her, I eat your food all the time. I told you that. You know, but
That's
it
what you
needs
was
to
talking
be
about, the restaurant?
appetizing. And we need to have bathrooms
I've never
in use.
been there.
No, I heard you said something about the restaurant in the back of Gun.
But you also have to hold your co-owners responsible too.
I hold them responsible.
Yeah, they're the ones.
And the air conditioner needs to be maintained a lot, and then the bathrooms, I don't know. I know one time is the bathrooms usable? I mean,
That
I've
bathroom
been
always
to.
been used. That's the same thing I'm trying to tell you. If you compare that store for someone who has 300 customers, the 15 and 1600 customers a day is a high volume store.
Yeah.
And you can't run out there every 20 minutes or 30 minutes to pick up something off the floor, or trash or something off the floor, and leave somebody in your store. When you come back, your whole store empty.
Job creation.
You know, the health department to come in there.
The who?
The health department.
Okay, getting back to your question about the landscaping. I have problems with that also, as far as we have to clean up out there by the sidewalk and the road and everything. But if you can look at these pictures, that's where it is, right on the curb where the grass grows between the street and the parking lot there. The sign on the corner, that's what they're speaking of. If you go down Bellevue around that curve, I have a problem there with the church, whomever owns that, not cleaning it up, and the city doesn't see it. And I'm sure 1,200 city workers or people travel that road every day.
I just wanted to know what
Yeah,
y'all mean by cleanup. And we do
I'll
have
show.
inspection. The health department do inspect, it's agriculture. We
I
get
know you
inspection
do.
three
And code
times.
enforcement come to you too because they reported you in here.
We abide, we do what they say do, and we do.
Just keep it clean. Keep calling clean. That's all we ask.
Okay.
And
Thank you
we're
for coming,
sorry
Kiki. I
that
really do
we have to
appreciate you
clean
coming.
that up, but that's what they say. I'll show you the paper. Do you have that? Oh, okay. Thanks for coming.
Good evening, board members.
Hello.
My name is Camille Holder Brown, and right now I live in Port Orange, but we are going to be moving into Pine Haven in the next 2 weeks. I wanted to say, in terms of the convenience stores, I think that anyone wanting to open any type of business in Midtown really needs to get a pulse of the community and what the community needs and do their research. I think it's insulting to show up for the first time that's anyone seen your face We went out there and we spoke with them, and they haven't been inside of Pearson's, and they haven't been inside of the Save-A-Lots in the stores and seen what the food looks like. And we spoke to them that, Midtown needs a health food store. Would you all be interested in opening up a health food store? And I guess their lawyer, whoever that was with them, said, oh, these men are in the convenience store business, period. And so that's what they're interested in. And I said, well, we need businesses that are going to reinvest, and also, whether they're hosting a street cleanup or they're donating some food to an event or whatever. So I think maybe certain stipulations of any new business that opens in Midtown, and what is their commitment to give back to Midtown, whether it be a percentage or in-kind donations. Are they going to help out a school? Are they going to adopt Are they going to adopt a street that they're on? Or what are they going to give back to the community? Because if that's not in paper, then then people will keep coming from wherever, saying that they can open up a business and kind of just go back to wherever they are and not really care about if the money is being reinvested. So I think that may be something when you all talk again to think about adding in. And secondly, we have some good news for Midtown Eco Village. We've been making some progress, and we've been talking to Mrs. Grubbs and just really seeing how can we partner with some different events that are coming up. One being at the Cypress Aquatic Center, Move to the Groove, for the tweens, that's going to be coming up on Mondays and Wednesdays, and making smoothies and stuff at that event. And we've been, the community garden, Farmer Brown, I've been calling him, he's been working on a plot about the size from here to where you all are sitting, all the way this way. It's very big, and he's going to be planting rows of collard greens and stuff. And he's been weeding and helping, dragging us in there with him, and we were doing that. And soon, as us strategically moving into Pine Haven, after meeting with Pete Gamble and everything, what we want to do is use the garden as a mentoring program. So that's why we are moving into Pine Haven, very specifically to do things with the kids there. So and also to be able to save up so we can purchase a building of our own. So just to keep you abreast of what we've been up to, and we're very excited, and I just wanted to give you some updates. Thank you.
Thank you. We really do appreciate you having the enthusiasm. I love your enthusiasm, and I wish you much success. And anything that Charles and I or this board can do to help you, let us know, because that's good.
Madam Chair and board members and staff, my name is Peggy Fennell Bradley. I was born in Midtown, and I just have to say this, it saddens me to see from the 50s and to see now the way the city is. So I am glad to hear the progress that, what you're trying to do. I live in Boca Raton. I'm in transition of coming back home to Midtown, coming back home to Daytona. Several years ago, I went to your TRT to get zoning. I went to do a neighborhood nursing rehabilitation center. Corner School in Hawk, they gave me approval there, needed 501c3, told me all the zoning. At that time, I only had 2 lots, and we were able to do 34 beds. I was able to get the 2 additional lots, and so that's 64 beds. And I'm trying to now get that last lot. So as I heard about your setup here, I'm coming to you because I need to get the cart and the wheels, because it does take money. And I've already have for the 2 lots, all the survey, the plans, the architect, the civil engineer, so that money's gone because I have additional land. I need to find out what's the procedure. Who do I talk to? How do I get on your agenda to see, is this something that Midtown wants? That I have to show you something. I'll come, get on your agenda and give you a package. Because what I presented to them 6-7 years ago was something that to bring community pride back. Because it does sadden you when you were raised up in the area and you see the way it is now. And this community center will bring jobs. It will be a teaching facility where we will have that staff there, the business administrator, the medical director, dietitian, all of that, social services. But you will be teaching others that when they go out from this particular location, we can place them on job, that people will be looking for them for jobs. So this is a project that has been in the work. And so as I sit here, I know I need to come before you. And I need to know this because I need to get funds. I need to get it funded, but I need to know, is this something that will be accepted by the board, by the community? You know, like I said, I went to the zone at TRT, and but I say I need to come here, and I'm glad, this was given to me. So I need to know just what to do, who do I need to talk to, and how can I get on your agenda? You know.
That red shirt gentleman right there, Mr.
Okay,
Bryant.
okay. Okay.
And the beautiful hair.
Okay, and
so those two young men, you need to talk. Look at me, so weird.
Okay. Because the last lot, the young lady was willing to sell 2 years ago, and then she realized the economy did a split, so she wants to just hold on. But I'm hoping she will come across with that real soon. And I do want to move as I make my transition back into Daytona. Okay.
Welcome you back into Daytona.
So I need to see Mr. Bryant.
Any more public comments?
Excuse me, Ms. Fennell Bradley, you said this would be a training facility only, or it will serve as training and a nursing facility?
It will be a nursing rehabilitation facility with emphasis on training those for going out to other places for job placement, for quality, dual purposes. And as you were asking the questions earlier about the quality and the people, that's the biggest thing we want to emphasize. It would not be something just thrown out. You would know how to treat people. You would know how to take pride in your work. You know,
this is nursing, like CNA?
I'm a physical therapist by profession.
Okay.
So it will be nursing and it will be rehabilitation.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, there is no more public comments. Go ahead, Reed.
I think Charles is going to bring up one other item.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a request from Jim Mars for 925 Sycamore Apartments. This is an item that I know we've had some discussion about it. They are requesting that we do a special meeting to address this particular item. I'm saying the way it was presented, that this was a request. He originally wanted to come to the board tonight. He was told no, that he could not come as an item on the agenda. The agenda was already gone out, but this is, I think he's requesting to come back as a conceptual review.
Yeah, it's just a conceptual review, and so it's one where you have that discussion, because it's larger than 20,000 square feet.
Why were they denied to come tonight?
They weren't on the
They did not meet the deadline. It was not on the agenda, and they did not meet the deadline for the TRT review.
Okay.
That's why. Okay. So we just had to keep following that procedure.
So are you asking us to set aside a day to get together to discuss this one issue? Wait, don't.
You've already got a workshop. They're trying to do this somewhere in the next month, but I think we said the best we can do is to bring it to you and ask if you'd like to have a separate meeting. Maybe we could have a special meeting where we're having a special a special meeting in the next week or so, where we could address this one item. If you so choose, we can set that up. If you do not want to, then we'll tell them to come back for the October meeting.
Okay, board, it's all up to you all. What do you want to do? Pleasure of the board.
I must have missed something because I'm still trying to find out what the item is. Well, we need a special meeting. What do you want it for?
It's a conception review. It's the apartments at 925 Sycamore.
Oh, apartments. Okay.
Right. Right now it's a 10. I think it's a 10-unit apartment complex. It's been boarded up for over 90 days, and they're requesting it's already in TRT. They're requesting to reopen that site, and it has to come before the board. It's been over 90 days, and it's over 20,000 square feet. So
The issue is, it's in a single-family neighborhood, and this is a multifamily use. So this is one of those cases where if they were told that, look, we don't like that, we'd like to have it in we want this to become a single-family instead of, the multifamily, then that's what they need to hear. Either it's something that's going to be good for the area or it's not. But right now, the issue is, at this point, they can't do anything with that property because it's non-conforming.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sycamore. Is that
That's
the
the-
user street?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
And those
That thing been there
apartments,
when I was a child.
oh, that hasn't been ages. Mr. Bryant, excuse me, but I know this is important, but I will not be in place for a meeting until after the 10th of October.
Me too. Wherever you going, I'm going to.
No. Okay,
What is the pleasure of the board? We brought it forth for your discussion and give us what you
Wait a
want.
minute, Ken has a comment.
I would think if you started doing something like that and you set that precedent,
Thank
you have to do it for everybody.
Yep.
So what is the pleasure of the board?
you. Y'all start doing it for everybody.
I think Charles is just asking for a motion. Either we're going to have a special call meeting or we're not. And sound like from the where the board is going,
me a
it will
motion.
not be a special call meeting. Is that what y'all asking us for at this point, Reed or Charles?
You can do it the form of motion or simple consensus.
So the consensus of the board, to me, Madam Chair, is that we're not going to have a special call meeting just for one purpose that has never came before us. Now, if they want to bring it back for a discussion item, then they can bring it to the board for a discussion item at our next meeting, and then we'll move it through the steps, just like we just did tonight. And that's law.
Now, do we need to vote, or you need a consensus, or what?
No,
Or both?
a consensus I think is fine from my end. That's all I need to pass back to the
So the consensus is
applicant.
no special meeting.
Okay, appreciate it.
Come with a discussion first,
Thank you.
okay?
I'm going to go to the next item if it's okay.
Okay. Yeah,
The
the-
next item is
the grant program.
revisions to the redevelopment grant programs.
Okay.
I think you had an opportunity to review the grants that we presented to you. As you can see, a lot of information that was requested from the board at the last meeting was included in this request, specifically the one that the 100% of the total project costs up to $5,000. Madam Chair, I know you've been honest about doing that. It's included in there. We included commercial facade grant. We included some of the items that were for downtown, like the lease subsidy grant. So I won't go through each and every one of them. If you have any questions, there was a copy that was of the grant programs that was included in your packet that explained each grant and disclosure for each one of the grants here. Right now, I'll just entertain any questions you might have regarding the facade grants.
Okay. I have a question. I'm going to start this off. My thing is with the memorandum here on this page. Okay, the list of the discussion, August meeting, follow-up discussion. The focus on exterior facade improvements by eliminating roof repair. I think we talked about that last time. In our community, I think the roof and air conditioners is something that we need to keep in our grant proposals. It's a residential area. Roofs are one of the first things that go, and if you don't take care of the roof, the whole house could just fall apart. So I think we need to have that roof part in there. I don't know how you all feel about that, but that's one of my little things. I think we need to have that in the air conditioner in there.
Madam Chair, did you say you took the air conditioners out?
Yes.
Yeah, they took air conditioners and the roofs out.
What's going to be the budget coming up this year for this grant?
At this
Any
point,
projections?
yeah, I think it's going to be zero. And I say that because that's what the last number was I saw in the budget.
For grants?
For grants, for just about anything right now, where revenues are cut deeply. So unless something changes in the revenue picture, we won't have anything to put in there. Now, one thing that happens is August 1st rolls around, you get that new budget.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity to have that discussion of can we look at monies that at the year end from that last year, and what can we roll back in, and at that point when we know those dollars, can we re-up that program again, put that money back in there. But at this point, that's all cut out.
So if we working on grants for the community, and you telling me we have zero budget, then we working on something that's for naught.
Well, it's for naught if we don't have the ability to put money in there. It's an awareness for us to know that at this point there's very little monies that are available. There's money in capital. We have money set aside for MLK and Orange. There's certainly the ability to consider whether or not some of that should be reallocated to some operational costs, like a grant program.
Yeah, because that's some of the things that we was talking about, Reed. When we sitting up looking at allocation, I'm glad you brought up Orange Avenue.
Yeah.
I was watching the city commission meeting the other night, last Wednesday, and when they were showing the budget on the screen, it had $0. Well, Orange Avenue was not even on the budget, but then the mayor and the city manager came back and said that they had spent close, I guess, between $500,000 and $600,000 on the design of Orange Avenue. So my question was going to be, when are we going to see in a design, where is that particular fund coming, the funds for the design of Orange Avenue coming from? And being that we are working on a master plan that we are paying the School of Engineering and Architect from Florida A&M University, which could save us that money to design or help design the Orange Avenue project, which in turn we could turn around and put money from that back over into our grant program for our community can continue to be served, which in turn will help us beautify the community and help our citizens. So at what point do we get a chance to sit back and say, look, let's take a look at how we can fund a grant program for our community?
Well, I think you could include, number one, in your motion that through your recommendation to the CRA about how you want these grants to happen, that you certainly want to see that there's funding, reasonable funding provided for carrying out these programs, because obviously that same discussion will occur at the higher decision-making level about these grants and how much money is there to put there. Because if it's not clear right now, it would be when we send forward your recommendation, if you want to make that a part of your motion.
When we sitting back looking at the facade grants and different things like that, do we have a line item breakdown on how the grants have been used in the past, i.e. roofs, air conditions, paint, different things like that? Because if we had that information, and that's where most of our funds are going, and that's what's helping the community, then I don't want to see that cut, because that's what's helping the community, especially where the temperatures are going. When we had these rainy seasons and roofs are leaking and different things like that, the elderly really, we got to be able to help our community, especially in these economic times. So I would ask that we get all the necessary information. Again, where in Midtown is most of our grant money being spent before we sit down and decide to cut that or take it out of the grant program. That's what my concern would be, to make sure before we start cutting or taking things out of this 27-page document that we're looking at, that we have enough information to make another intelligent decision.
And also get back with our paint program, another one of my little pet things I've been talking about for 4 or 5 years. We need a paint program. We had one a long time ago, and that would also help our citizens and also beautify, as we are trying to do with the community. I mean, we talk about this every month, and we don't need to make a motion because it's a revision, right? So you're going to take this to them, or you're asking us to make a motion. Is that what you're?
Yeah, the current request is to make a motion on these changes. If for now your concern is air conditioning and roofs, I would recommend at this point that you ask that those remain as eligible items in the grant as they are today, and again, later on, if there's some feeling that things need to change and we can present some additional data, that's not easy to get to because we do not collect information by each item that's in that grant that somebody pays for. If there's an air conditioner and a roof.
You just contradicted yourself, because I asked Charles, do we have the information based on how our grants are being used? I thought Mr. Bryan said yes when it came to roofs, air conditioning, paint, or whatever the case may be.
We can go back on our records, but Charles, unless you've gotten the details, I don't think he's correct.
We don't have the information?
So the information would be in the files, but it's not tabulated separately. Okay. So that's the difference, I think.
So it goes back, again, when I was looking at City Commission meeting, the information, you can't make an intelligent decision because we don't have the necessary information to say, well, let's cut this or let's keep this. You see what I'm saying? So what I would recommend, again, that this seems to be another item that need to be continued before we move it forward, and we try to get some information on it, because there's no rush for this particular item at this point if there's no money budgeted. We can try to budget money.
That's right.
Okay. I would like to ask that we move some money from the capital projects over into our budget for the grant program at the same time, simultaneously, be working on establishing what needs to be in our grant program for Midtown.
Because we just got, 3-point-something million off of the cameras in the city? And I think some of that should be able to come to us. A little bit of it.
That's another public.
3.5. A little something.
That's another comment that we're going to talk about.
Let's keep on track. Go ahead.
I'll have a comment on that, because what I heard Mr. Berger say is that he recommended that we add back the air conditioners, add back the roof and the painting program, if that's what you want to do, and send that forward. Is there something else that we need to address before approving this? If there's nothing else, is everything else that's in here, and we add back those 3 items, can we go ahead and approve it? We can always we can come back if it's something that needs to be added. We can come back and add it. But myself, I'm looking at the time frame that's going to go. It's going to take to get to the CRA. It's going to have to get to the City Commission, get approved. Then we're going to be waiting in the wings, even though we don't have money. What Mr. Berger is saying, we need to get something approved so we can go back to the city commission, to the CRA, and ask them to transfer funds over to that account so we can utilize some of those funds for some of these grants. That's what I'm hearing. Am I wrong?
I think it's helpful to get it on the agenda sooner versus later. And like Charles said, it hasn't been a big deal so far with the air conditioning and the roofs, other than I think what we pointed out was not the details, the quantification of how much is being spent on there. I think the observation is that most of the roofs were not making a difference in terms of the visual change in the community, and that was a concern with the other redevelopment boards. And Midtown may look at it differently because there's a need issue here that's different, and that's what I was hearing.
So basically, excuse me, Madam President.
Because the other
On dealing with this, then, so what you need from the board is a motion to add air condition, add the roofs and the paint, and we already had 100% grant that we're going to work on the qualifications on to help our senior citizens, correct?
Right.
Okay, so if we're going to do it that way and it's going to move forward that way, then then I can agree. I don't think we need to hold that up. It's consensus of the board.
What is the consensus of the board? You all agree with that? Yes. Okay, so I need a motion, if that's what you all going to do.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we move the changes to the revision to the redevelopment grant program to add air condition, roofs, and paint into the grant program.
So move.
Okay, wait a minute, hold up. Now, we're saying paint program. We already have one written up, so that painting program, right?
Yes.
Okay. So restate it for me.
You know, I went to night school.
Restate the motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the revisions to the redevelopment grant program to also include air conditions, roofing, and a paint to the grants program.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. And that's for the record, Ms. Secretary. Okay. Everybody understands that? That was put back into the grant program, the roofs and the painting program, and the air conditioning.
At 100%.
Okay. Go ahead. Charles, you're going to be out there all night, but we're going to let you go. Okay, go ahead. We will go on now to discussion items, prohibited use, LDC's text amendment.
Okay, Board, at the last Midtown Redevelopment Board meeting on August 4, 2011, I presented a memo to you on prohibited uses, LDC text amendment. And according to your request, at the last meeting, July the 12th, 2011, you instructed staff to bring back information with a recommendation to be reviewed, approved, denied, and forwarded to the planning board for their review, approval, denial regarding car washes and convenience stores. According to the memo that I presented to you, I was gathering information and conducting research in order to bring back a recommendation to the board to be presented at this meeting today. As part of the research, I provided you with maps of both convenience stores and car washes in the Midtown redevelopment area. Okay. I made an effort to also provide you with the size of each convenience store as described in the Volusia County Property Appraiser's Office website. In your packet, you should have a copy of the first page of each convenience store, the Property Appraiser's website. The reason I provide you with that, so you would have the information. There was not, in a lot of cases, there were no size indications on each convenience store. So I provide you with a copy of the first page of the Property Appraiser's Office report. Also, in your packet, the thick packet there, you should.
Is that this?
That's right. Okay. You should have behind each picture, there's a list of crimes reported to the Daytona Beach Police Department as it relates to each particular property. If you look at those reports, I did not tell you what those particular items were. There are codes used by the police department. I'm sure they don't want everyone to know what those codes are when they go out on call. So if you need to know any further information about those codes, you can get with me and I'll see if I can get an answer for you as they relate to that property. You should also have information for the Volusia County Health Department regarding each property. And last, you should have a copy of the code enforcement report as it applies to each particular property. I do have, for the interest of our public, there's some photos of all of the car washes that we have in the area. And riding around looking, I did find a couple of additional properties that were car washes and convenience stores that were not on the list that we had before. So we added some, and we, Ms. Hurd, we took yours off. So we did find some that was not listed on there. If you look at the maps that are in your packet, we do have those. We have a list of convenience stores and car washes that are located in the area. We also have representative from the health department here tonight. She's agreed to come up and address the statement that the health department has sent to us as it relates to convenience stores. I'll let her come forth at this time, and then when she finished, you can ask her questions, and I'll come back and continue.
Okay. Do you have another one of those, Suzanne's thing? Because I need mine before.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the Midtown Redevelopment Board. My name is Suzanne Grubbs, and I'm with the Volusia County Health Department. And we wanted to speak on the topic of access to fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy food items in the Midtown community. And this is our policy statement from the Volusia County Health Department. Access to healthy food is a challenge for many Americans, particularly those who live in low-income neighborhoods. The Midtown community within the central city of Daytona Beach is defined by the Economic Research Service and the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a food desert. Food deserts are low-income communities, often communities of color, without ready access to healthy and affordable food. According to PolicyLink and the Food Trust, the lack of healthy food retail also hinders community economic development in neighborhoods that need private investment, activity hubs, and jobs. Inequitable access to healthy food is a major contributor to health disparities for conditions such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, adult obesity rates are 51% higher for African Americans than whites, and 21% higher for Latinos. Black and Latino children are more likely to become obese than white children. Studies that measure food store availability and access to healthy foods in nearby stores find major disparities by race and income. Only 8% of African Americans live in a census tract with a supermarket, compared to 31% of whites. Nationally, low-income zip codes have 30% more convenience stores, which tend to lack healthy items than middle-income zip codes. Adults living in neighborhoods with no supermarkets and access to only convenience stores, smaller grocery stores, or both, have the highest rates of obesity and overweight. Research has also shown that for each additional supermarket in a census tract, produce consumption for African Americans increases by 32%. Strategies to increase access to fresh and wholesome foods in food deserts are and include the following: attracting or developing grocery stores and supermarkets, developing other retail outlets such as farmers markets, public markets, cooperatives, farm stands, and community-supported agriculture programs. Increasing the stock of fresh fruits and vegetables and other healthy foods at neighborhood corner stores or small groceries. Growing food locally through backyard and community gardens or larger urban-scale agriculture. And improving the transportation to grocery stores and farmers markets. The Volusia County Health Department supports policies designed to increase access to healthy foods in food deserts located within Volusia County as an important strategy to decrease health disparities and improve the quality of life for Volusia County residents. Thank you so much for your attention this evening.
Thank you, Suzanne, for giving us this very helpful information. Board, do you all have any questions of Suzanne right now? Go ahead.
I stole some of your thunder, but I wanted them to go away with the thoughts about what we're thinking about. So it's a really very nice report, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions of Suzanne, Board?
A couple questions. Suzanne, when you compiled your data, was this data taken within the Midtown area based on the meetings that we've been having with the health department, or is this just overall Volusia County issue?
It included both. It included a study that incorporated about 126 other national studies, and it also included the food desert information for Volusia County. So it included the census tracts in Volusia County that are considered a food desert, of which Midtown is considered a food desert.
Okay. Madam Chair, when we getting ready to make decisions on dealing with the different convenience stores and different options that come before this board, I think it's important that we have pertinent information so we can make a sound decision like what we're trying to do. I don't think that we're trying to stop anyone from conducting a business. It's bringing up the standards of the business in our community is what we're really trying to focus on. Now, I think with the help of the health department and the input they're really starting to help us in the development and implementation of bringing better standards to our community, it can only help us make a better decision. When we sit back and look at what we're discussing, I think Mr. Bryant, based on the information that came back from the planning board, for us to make a better decision, they wanted us to come back and check while we're making these different decisions. So when we sit here making a continuance, we want to make sure that we're in compliance with what the planning board has asked us to do. So when we're sitting here making asking for a continuance, I think it's important that the board be recognized for making a a continuance, because when I sit back and look at it, we're making a decision that's going to affect our community. And for anybody to come up here once again and represent or ask to present something to this board, once a motion has been made on the floor, I would appreciate the respect that this board be given to make sure that people just don't think that our board is taken for granted. And I think Mr. Dowse just did that, because it's like I feel he didn't respect our decision for continuing his project, because I wanted to make a decision based on what the health department is bringing us. I want to make a decision based on the information that Mr. Bryant is giving us, and we just got this information on Thursday or Friday, and that's a lot of information to go over just for this particular item. So in the future, I appreciate if we had a respect and have enough information before an item come before this board for action. And I appreciate the information that you're giving us. I want to continue to support the health department. I look forward to the meeting on the 28th of this month, so we can make sure that we are knowledgeable on making decisions coming into this board when it comes to our community. So thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would also like to state that in the process of getting our land development code and our master plan together, it's not that it was just a store, but we're looking at our future plans and how we say we want to develop this, and all of the different types of things we want to bring to the community, where other large investors will come and invest in Midtown. Nobody wants to invest in Midtown because of the way it looks. Nobody wants to invest in Midtown because of the buildings that we have in Midtown. And until we do better, in order to look good, you have to put some work into it. So as we do our master plan and we're working with Professor Hoffman, that's the thinking that I'm using, that how will this fit into our plan? So I don't want anyone leaving here thinking that all we do is attack, but the questions that need to be answered affect the outcome of all this effort we're putting in with Florida A&M, how we're going to develop Midtown. Thank you.
Any more questions of Suzanne?
No, I have some.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam
Bryant,
Chairman.
Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Suzanne.
Board.
We really do
Thank you.
appreciate all your assistance.
Hey, Mr. Bryant, based on the information that you have been collecting and working diligently on when it comes to letting us know how many convenience stores, how many car washes, how many the items that we're trying to make sure that the planning board, excuse me just for a minute, asks us to come back and review from our, July? Was it July meeting or? August. They asked us to come back and get information, and it's still, I think we need to make sure we have probably another discussion before we even go back to the planning board with the LDC change, because there's a lot of information that we need to sit down and discuss, ask questions. So it comes, I think, on our next workshop with FAMU, maybe we should also include a time period, Madam Chair, where we can discuss this LDC text when it comes to, because there's a lot of information for us to try to sit up and discuss tonight and hold everybody's attention. So this is something that I would like for us to workshop also, so we can make sure when we send the recommendations back to the planning board that we get it correct this time. And I really appreciate the information that you're getting us. Is what we need, and I thank you for taking the time to make sure we have the right information.
Recommendation from the board on a date for a workshop for the LDC text amendment. You want to do it prior to the next Midtown board meeting?
Yeah, it sounds good to me to have another, have a workshop, Ken, of the text amendments, the LDC text amendments before our next workshop, before our next board meeting. And that would be separate from the one with Professor Huffman?
Yes, if we're going to get that in first, because we want to get this back to the planning board. Am I correct? Because we want to be able to make sure we can get this to the planning board, if we can get it to the CRA in time to get to the commission, but we can get these different things approved. So we probably need to have it pretty quick.
The sooner the better, yes, sir.
Okay. So yes, I would say.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I will contact the board members tomorrow as for a convenient date that would be available for the board members, and we will set it up based upon your availability for that date.
Okay.
And make sure that we can arrange the facility to have a workshop. I'll do that for tomorrow.
All right.
Madam
Charles,
Chair.
Wait, everybody hold up for just a second. Mr. Ivy has talked about the action from now on. We need discussion first, then action, not action without any discussion. Reed, are you hearing me?
I hear what you're saying. If you want me, I can discuss that, why we brought an action item to you, because somebody had a right as an applicant to go through the process and get scheduled. So we had to put it on there the way we did.
Okay, but then again, hold on. Then again, but has to be a discussion first, so that we will know the items and all the information. You know, you're kind of putting the horse before the cart type of thing. I know the applicants may want what they want, but we also have to be able to have the information and have time to study it and have time to go over it and get with Charles to see what the information is. So if you just come up and you just do the action, that doesn't give us time to get the information.
Can I comment?
Okay, go ahead, Ken. I'm done.
This falls in the category of ready, fire, aim.
Yep. Yep. So, this is what I'm saying. Does the board members understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, we understand.
Okay. So I need you to understand where we're coming from. Even if the applicant has to wait, we need to have time to know what we're talking about. You can't.
What I'm hearing you say is you want a two-step process where someone wants to bring in a site plan, but you want them to have two meetings, not one. One that will be a preliminary discussion, and the second, which will be an action item. Is that what I'm hearing for all site plans? Is that what you're asking?
I think we ran into this before, and that's why I want to make sure, Madam Attorney, that remember we had this discussion once before about, especially when we're trying to really make sure we do what's best for this community, that we have a period to discuss it, even if we might want the community to have some input, because we're trying to make a change and go in a direction. And in order to make a change, we want to include the community. So it gives us a chance, like tonight, once we get through and we have public comments, somebody in the audience may come back and say, well, I really wish I had a chance to make a comment on this convenience store. I think it's good for the community, or I think it's bad for the community. So all that will come into play on our decision making. But had we go ahead and make a decision, yes or no, we don't have to vote up and down. Let me make that perfect clear. Just because it's an action item on here, when it's continuing, we do not have to vote yes or no. Okay, once a continuance is made on the floor, the item is automatically continued. Now, if they want to present, that's fine. They can still present, but that don't mean we have to take action on it. Okay, and that's some of the things that we probably need to have a workshop on. What is that called?
Law.
I think we do, and I think what I'm hearing tonight and what I've seen already suggests that we need to all sit down and have a workshop, and we need to have the discussion about the legal process. Our
I
powers.
have my book. What's that?
Robert's rules.
Robert's rules. We could cover that.
I have
Some of you have been in that before, and it sounds like it's a good time to revisit that right now in a workshop.
But I really think that we need what she's looking at, the lawyer part of it, not Robert's Rules of Order. I think what she's looking at is different from Robert's Rules of Order.
But one of the things I'm looking at is it sounds like you're
right?
actually talking about.
You're not answering my question. What you're looking at is not Robert's Rules of Order, is it?
It's basic due process principles.
Okay, is that something that we can get a copy of, or is that something?
It's just a general. An applicant has an opportunity to be heard. They have to have notice and an opportunity to be heard, and that's just a.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you about the book that you go to look at things. Is that a lawyer book? Is that something we can get so that we can?
It's the Constitution.
The Constitution of the United States?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's what I needed to know.
The other thing I wanted to add was it sounds like a text amendment might be in order because it sounds like you want a concept review on site plans before they actually come for actual approval. So it sounds like you're requiring them to appear at 2 meetings. And if that's the case, that needs to be in the land development code.
Go ahead, Ken.
People tend to view us as the site plan approval agency or board. And that's we do that, but that's not all that we do. We have to measure this. Every presentation to us, we need to measure it in its economic terms, in its social terms, in its neighborhood terms, in its street, and its transportation. And you can't do all that between the time that door opens, they walk in and make their presentation. It just doesn't happen. But all of those things need to be considered.
I think we may need to have another board workshop on how we review different things because we're kind of mixing in, you're talking about some general zoning principles, mixing it in with an actual review process. And so the review process for a site plan, there's specific criteria you consider. And it's not,
I'm aware of that. I just...
Yeah, all of that comes into it. It all comes into one big ball. It's not separate over here and that's over there. It's all together. But we look at something, that's what we're looking at. All of it, not just, the site plan. You got to see how it's going to affect the neighborhood.
But when that actual application comes forward, you're bound by what's in this land development code as your review criteria. So if there's some other aspect of it you want to address, you can't do it in that forum. You have to deny it based on the criteria that's there. You can't just, start. I understand you have to think of it in the big picture, but they're distinct processes.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
That goes back to us receiving this on a Thursday evening, sometimes a Friday. And if you're not a reader or you love to read and you're detailed, you really don't, some people don't understand all of this, on the board, off the board. So my concern is, I guess this question goes to Reed and Mr. Berger and Mr. Bryant. Does the CRA, do they really consider what we have to digest when we come to a meeting, and then when we have people that come to us and want something quick, fast, in a hurry? And it seems like lately in the last 6 months, everybody that comes to us, they're in a hurry. They just want us to say yes, but they don't realize we have concerns. No, we're not knocking them from becoming business and property owners, but we have concerns about how they're going to fit into our master plan, the land development code. And I just have this perception that when you all report back and they say Midtown Board, you're constantly telling them that we're not ready. It's not that we're not ready because we're just sitting here. We're not ready because we want to make the right decisions. And is it my understanding that everyone that comes to present to us is walking away with the answer they want? Because they seemed very shocked tonight that we, continued their request. And it sounds like when they come to the city and pull the permits and do all of their paperwork, that when they get to this board, it's yes, with an attorney standing there. I think it needs to be explained to these people when they come and want to invest in open businesses in Midtown, that when they come before the board, they may not hear what they want the first time. And some of it is just basically questions of how is it going to affect the community. So my plea to Mr. Berger and Mr. Bryant would be, when you go back to the CRA boards and the planning boards, let them know we're not here to hurt or cause a stumbling block. We're here to get an understanding between people that want to invest in our community so that they can understand where we're coming from. Because they basically made it plain, we want to open a convenience store. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, and I think there's these two different things that they, from public health and social justice and the issues in the neighborhood, the quality of life. There are a lot of issues, a lot of things that we've talked about when we do the master planning for our area. What I guess is troubling, and I think the shock of the applicant that you saw, was that they met all of the requirements that the law states they should follow, and unless there was something that they were not following or not doing, then there's really an obligation on our part to approve that plan. We may not like convenience stores. We may want to change the way things happen, but I'm just saying, from their viewpoint, they're looking at it as, look, we did everything you asked us to do. Is there something else in that site plan that we're not getting? And understanding there's lots of other comments about convenience stores, and they were listening, and how they operate, what they do, but it wasn't part of the code. And I think the best handle what we're just talking about now is to go to that workshop. I think that's a good idea, and I think it would be good to cover some of the issues of.
Basically, what I was trying to say was, we get this on Thursday, we meet on Tuesday, we see we have an applicant.
I have a question.
When we get this as an action item, it goes back to Mr. Ivy. Shouldn't the discussion come before the action? They've already done what they're supposed to do. That would be part of the discussion. So when it's time for the action, we understand that they've met all the criteria to the city. You're giving us this on a Thursday. We meet on a Tuesday. We have people that come before us. They're looking for yes. We haven't had time to discuss. That's the question I'm trying to get you to understand.
Not dealing with the timing part of it, when you get your report, that's a different issue, but having that discussion on the record is part of that action item. So, you would essentially need to have that discussion twice if you were looking at two different meetings, because your decision needs to be based on the record evidence.
But when did we discuss it the first time? When we
well, you guys were just proposing, having them come twice. So,
excuse me, Madam President. I don't want us to get really drawn out on this. Bottom line is continued.
Yeah.
Okay, it's no difference. Planning board, city commission, whatever the case may be, a continuance is a continuance. And that's where we're at. It's the end of the discussion at this point. And that's what we're trying to say. Now, we have agreed that we're going to workshop this LDC. Then, therefore, we're going to have a better decision. If the guy come back and he's within those guidelines based on what you guys are giving us, then we're going to vote yes or no. Then that's why they set up the appeals process. If we decide to vote for it, he don't go to appeal. If we decide not to vote for it, he go to appeal. So what's the difference if we take another day, week, month, or year to make a decision? And we have that right as board members to say yes, no, or we're going to continue it because we have some questions and concerns. So whether they like it or not, if a board member decides to continue any item on the agenda, they have that right to do that. That's law.
Go ahead.
Oh, Madam Chair, I'd like to address this question to Reed. Reed, when staff recommend something to the board, so that's supposed to be the gospel? That's all I wanted to know.
No, but
Because every time you all come in here and it's staff approves, staff recommend, approve of this, approve of that, as if the board don't have any say so. It's the other week the same thing, staff approve. And are you saying that when you all approve something that we must vote yes?
No, and ours is a recommendation, and that is our job, is to recommend to these boards, and we do that. We're not always right. We don't always agree. That's okay. And I think, speaking of is it the gospel, I think Mr. Bryant sometimes will speak of that, but that's in a different context. But I will tell you that Charles, but really, we're trying to give you the information. It's not personal. It's a team effort. It's a site plan review that's done by a technical team of a number of people that go through this, so we can give you the best information up front. And I hear a timing issue here, that I'm hearing that 4 or 5 days isn't hacking it for you to review a site plan. Is that right?
You've talked about this a long time, about the time we get this package. It's nothing new.
But we're talking about discussion. So you're talking about time in 5 days and all that. We're talking about we need a discussion period first. We need to discuss the site plan. Not 2 meetings, what Ms. Lawyer was saying here, Ms. Carey. We're not talking about that. We need to discuss the thing first, like we do the next item. It's a discussion item. It's not just an action item. It just comes to us out of the blue. It shouldn't be that way. It should be a discussion item. That's what we're saying. Now, are you kind of understanding it's been put like 3 or 4 different ways?
I think I understand, and I really don't.
We can say no to things. We don't have to say yes.
Right.
Okay.
We're gonna.
Go ahead, Reed. Finish
What I'd like to do is just take this back up in the workshop discussion.
Sure.
And we'll go from there.
Go ahead, Ms. Pat.
I don't want to repeat everything that has been said, but this is what we have been saying all the while. And what I'm hearing, I just heard that when things go through the code enforcement downstairs, the applicants are thinking that everything is said and done. But they should tell them they must come through the different boards, the Midtown board. And we have to know what is going on also. And they were very disappointed. But we have not had time to discuss anything. So hopefully this will be taken care of. And if anyone else comes up to become a business operator in the community, that they must understand that they must meet certain requirements. Right?
This is for the record. Ms.
Okay.
Secretary. Okay. Okay, any more comments on this, or are we done? Okay. Reed, you got a comment? I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Attorney, you have a comment? Okay. All right, let's.
I have one.
Charles, have to go ahead and finish yours. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so at the workshop, we want to include legal as a part of that workshop.
You're doing a workshop on convenience stores, or I think there should be a separate workshop.
Okay.
But you're talking about a text amendment for convenience stores.
I think we're going to be discussing the whole LDC tax amendment that we're trying to make a change on. That
Well, if you want to do it all in one meeting, that's fine. It might be lengthy, but.
It's boards.
And next week is
up
the
to the board.
LDC text amendment for, it's 2 meetings next week. Right? Rewrite the subcommittee and something else.
The grant program.
My mind just left me.
The Cape grant program.
Huh?
Well, I think the grant program.
No, it's a subsection of this one. The rewrite committee and something else for the LDC for next week. It's 2 meetings, 2 separate meetings. Yeah, next week. So maybe we need to try to come to those and just kind of look around, hear what they're talking about. And this is for Clarion. Clarion is going to be here. That's what they're going to be talking about next week.
That's isn't it? Maybe I'm off, but I think it's 2 weeks, and it's the 27th. Is that
Okay.
Is that correct?
27th? Okay.
At
2
6
weeks.
o'clock.
Okay, yeah.
Right here.
Right here.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted everybody to know that so that we are all on the same page. If we're going to go to that, that's fine. It's not a command performance, but we need to be up on what's going on. And that's why I was asking Ms. Attorney about the book that she's reading from. So that when she tells us stuff, because I like to look at it myself. I don't like to get secondhand information. I like to be able to look at it myself and be able to say, what it is. And I'm a black and white person. I want to see it written down. I want to see some law in there, if that's what it takes. Go ahead. You? Okay. Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
Okay. My question is still, are we going to have 2 separate workshops?
Yes.
Or are we going to have one?
What is the board's opinion on there?
I thought, Madam Attorney, didn't you say you was thinking about getting all the boards to, I remember the last legal workshop, we had all the boards there when you was going through.
I think it's probably time for it to do another one.
Yeah, I think when the last one they had all the boards were at the, because we covered sunshine law, we covered a host of articles, items at the workshop. So I mean, if all the other boards are gonna have it, like she's saying, it's time. So I don't think that should be included in what we're trying to do.
You don't think it should not be included?
No, it shouldn't be included. She's going to, most likely, she's going to hold citywide.
Yeah, we'll look at 2 different workshops, I think. Hate to say that, but that's...
One of them is going to be for the text amendment, and the other one is...
Right, ours is for the text amendment.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Clarified, I will set up the one for the LDC text amendment, and Attorney Latham will do the one for the boards, overall for all the boards.
I will set that up for all the boards, and
that's gonna be
we'll
soon?
include legal.
That's going to be soon, Reed?
I can't guarantee that until I get all the players on board.
Okay. All right. So right now, we're just doing the LDC
Okay.
text amendment.
Yes.
What date is the next meeting with the Volusia County Health Department? I missed that.
I think it's the 28th.
September
28th from 2:30 to 4.
It's at the Volusia County Health Department.
Thank you.
And Dr. Phillips is here also. Hello, how are you? Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry. We got off track, and you trying to give your report.
Hold on.
When we get going, we get going.
I'm finished with that one.
Okay.
But I would just like to say thank you to the Volusia County Health Department for providing the information to me. Also, the police department and code enforcement. They provided information to me in a timely manner, and I was able to put the package together for you. I know everyone's complaining that you didn't get the packet till Friday, but if you look at the size of the packet, it was a lot of information that went into it. And
That's the problem.
I know, but I gave you something to read. You had plenty of time to read it. You might not have the time to absorb it the way you wanted to, but you had plenty of time to read it. And Mr. McGee, I'll try to make sure that you get yours before the day of the meeting next time. Okay?
But we all want to thank, you all working together. I think that's a really good thing, that code enforcement, police department, and Mr. Bryant is working together. And that is really something important in our neighborhood. We got to work together. We got to talk about it and work together. We may not always agree, but we can disagree, but we can work together. And that's what we got to continue to do. So, we may disagree, Reed, I love you. But we're going to have to continue to work together and get things out. And that's no dig on Mr. Bryant, because I have him doing so many things. I'm going to have to back up on him and let him do what he got to do. So, we're going to get this done. All right. Charles, are you done? Or?
Okay, I think we've touched on the next item a little bit already. Is the Midtown Master Plan Workshop. I think the last workshop we had a good audience. We asked a lot of questions. There was a lot of information that were provided to the board. Right now, we are in discussions with Professor Hoffman to, I don't know if Reed has a date that that he would be here to present to the city commission.
There's no date for the city commission at this time. It's really until this board makes a recommendation to move the master plan forward. And we have to have the submission first. So that's the first thing that has to happen, is get that first submission to you so you have time to review the plan.
You're so funny, Reed. Reed, you know, I've been trying to say in board, excuse me, I've been trying to want us to get Professor Huffman here while the plan is good now, and so that we can get him to come back for the next year to continue on what we're trying to do. And if I would like for that to be sooner rather than later, because his contract runs out October or something, right?
October, he is to deliver the final plan. We were expecting a preliminary plan by now. That hasn't happened.
Okay.
I would hope that you would have it very soon so that you can begin to review it.
Okay. But I would like for him to really talk to City Commission and give them like an overview of what's been happening, so that, you know, not step by step. I'm not saying give him the plan. I'm saying give them an overview of what's been going on so far. You know, where we at, where we been, that kind of thing. And I don't think that needs a completion of the plan. That needs to let the City Commission know where we're coming from. Am I saying it okay?
No, Madam Chair. I think we in concurrence. I think they just extended it at the City Commission meeting to give us to January. Did I miss?
That's what that is that amendment that had the appeals part in it and the site plan review. The request was that section that dealt with the site plan review would be looked at after January, so to give everyone enough time to look at the master plan itself.
Right.
But see, we don't have a moratorium on anything either, so.
But no, with all due respect, Madam Chair, on the when we're looking at the master plan, the process that we are currently going through on that, and talking with Professor Hoffman and Charles on making sure that we deliver a sound product back to the board and to the community as a whole. Some of the things that I would hope that would occur, I have to concur with the president. Again, I've seen in the paper where they're getting ready to bring back the consultant for downtown. So therefore, I'm going to ask that we make a motion and send it up to the CRA and or the City Commission that we hire Florida A&M University again for the continuance, for we can't complete our master plan. Maybe that's probably what we need for their no, because this contract is due to expire. And I think quite a few of the commissioners have been attending the workshops that we've been having dealing with the master plan. So I would hope that the CRA and or the city commissioners would approve the continuance of Florida A&M to work with the city, with the Midtown Redevelopment Area Board on developing their master plan.
Once his contract expires, do we have the funds in our budget to extend another contract?
And the answer in that case is no, we do not.
That's why we have to ask the city, the CRA or the city commissioners. I think the board could actually borrow the money from the CRA and or the city commission. So maybe we need to make a motion to borrow $1 million from the city that they just got in. Then that way we'll have some funds in order to do these different type things. So that's another option that we may have.
Okay, that's another option. When does our budget come in? When does our revenue come in? Because we have money coming in. I mean, we ain't got much, but there are some monies coming in.
There's a budget, and the budget that
It can't be
It
dry
has-
already.
No, there's
We
a.
ain't got it yet.
No, I'm just saying that based on the projected revenues, and the disbursement of how those funds are budgeted right now, you will not see funds or many funds in the operating. So you basically are paying for personnel, and you're not getting a lot of those line items that usually had some funds in it filled. They're zeroed out.
Why are we
Because
not getting those?
the revenues have gone down significantly in Midtown.
They haven't dried
again.
up. I mean.
They're not dried up.
Okay.
I'm just
So
saying
we
there's.
will be getting a budget.
Right, there's, yes, and what I would suggest, and we all can go online and look at it if you want to look on the website and look at this. Charles can get you some information on the pages that deal with Midtown as well. On the budget, that draft budget came out in August, got presented to the city commission. So what I'm saying is we're down significantly in revenue, and there's been further cuts in some of those based on projections they're getting now from the county.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is for Mr. Berger. Will we be given a budget, physical budget in our hands to have?
I don't see any problem with giving you a budget that you can look at when the official budget comes out. We can give you those sections from the Midtown plan. Midtown.
Based on the city commission approving all of this money for the Orange Avenue project, did they consider that, I believe we have the smallest budget out of the boards?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true.
It's true.
In terms of smallest budget. Yeah.
My question is, how do we function as a board without financial stability? And then it's miraculous how they find hundreds of thousands of dollars to do things in Midtown, and we know nothing about it. It's just amazing how you can drive around Ridgewood. You look this way, it's deplorable. You look this way, it's beautiful. It's just amazing that Midtown's in the middle. There's a sign up by the Daytona Mall that says Midtown Plaza. And it's showing the layout of the mall. But it also states that over 80,000 cars pass by that mall every day. How many of them turn off International, Nova Road, Orange, and come in? And once again, we're stuck. We have to ask for a budget. We get a budget. There's nothing in it. But there's money being spent all around Midtown. They did a documentary on vacation spots on cable. I can't remember the channel. They went all the way to Ponce Inlet, Ormond by the Sea. When they hit Daytona Beach, you know what they talked about for Midtown? BCU. You know what they showed as far as a highlight point? The statue. Why could they not come in our community and show something else?
They never do.
Because there's nothing here, because we don't have the money. We have representatives. Read, as of today, my word with you, every meeting will be, are you fighting? And are you fighting for the board? We need funds. The storm, all that property off Nova North and Madison, all this property off Ridgewood that stayed blocked up for months, where you couldn't turn and go east towards the river. But where the problem, the people that were affected the most, nothing has been done. Put out some sidewalks and pave some roads, but
But once again, the money is being spent around. We need some money in Midtown, and until we get some money as a board to work with to get some of the things done, we're wasting Tuesday evening sitting up in here. We've been in here some nights to 11 and 12 o'clock fighting for Midtown. We can fight all we want, but when it's time to put this to action, you need this. I need you to fight for Midtown, Reed. It's amazing how beautiful this city is, but there's a clump right here that's not changing. It's still standing. But we allow people to come in and want us to pass something for something we don't need. May I be excused? Because I'm Pastor.
Ms. Chairman.
You cannot be excused.
Ms. Chairman.
You just sit there like the rest of us, sister.
May
Go
I,
right ahead.
Mr. Burgess, I heard you say that you will we will receive the budget for the Midtown, but I'm asking you, may we receive the budget for all areas in the city? This is the only way we will know what is going on by you all giving us information. We're not only concerned about Midtown, but we're concerned about the town itself. So if you give us the budget for Midtown, give us the budget for our neighbors downtown.
What you want is the other redevelopment areas?
Yes,
budgets?
sir. Yes, sir.
We want the whole budget, in other
We
words.
want the whole budget.
And you know we want everything.
Yes, sir.
I'm about to lose my, and you know what?
May we?
Well, I can get you the redevelopment budgets for our CRAs. Over and beyond that, I'll have to check it with finance, how we can accomplish that.
That is important. One other question right now is MLK. The city has gone out there and torn up the streets. And we only can go down there if you want to drive 5 miles an hour without dust flying up. It's rough, it's bad on the cars and everything. My question is, where will they be paving MLK South End? From Orange Avenue to Fremont or to Shady Place?
You have to drive down the middle of the street. If you don't want to take.
That's important to me.
We'll have to return next time and get the latest information on their schedule for that work. Okay?
You may call
That goes
me.
back to the budget, Mr. Berger. They spent $70,000 doing that patchwork on Orange Avenue. So there's no money for them to get those holes taken care of. I mean, you drive over and rocks and dust, they kick up.
And the car washes are not.
And the
Go there. Okay, let's move on, y'all. Come on, y'all. You've been standing for a while.
I'm getting upset.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Just put the, I'm ready to go.
We're going to go to redevelopment project updates. As I talked from the code report, some of the areas that he hasn't hit, I've been hitting as a part of my tour. The first one was 300 block of Fulton Street. As you can see, the grass is high there. What I've been doing is, as I find these different violations in Midtown and also in other areas, I've been emailing to either code enforcement or to Sonia Wiles, who has been making sure that some type of action has been taken on her. So I think that this particular one, 300 block of Fulton Street, I know he has that on his list to be mowed, as well as the other ones that are on here, 352 Fulton Street. And in his report, I know the question was on 836 Orange Avenue. That property, I don't think our inspector knows, but I've been doing a lot of investigation with this particular property, and
Yes, you have.
this particular property has been receiving a fine of $200 per day. It has maxed out at $15,000. I've had discussion from the property owner, who I've been trying to contact this week. As of yesterday, I did speak with the property owner. He lives in Champaign, Illinois, I think. The property next door to this property is owned by the property owner's sister. She lives in Irving, Texas. So we have been in contact with a lot of property owners who live out of state. Last week I was in touch with the property owner 330 and 336, I think it is, Division Street. He lives in Los Angeles, California. So we've had a lot of conversation with property owners that owns properties within the Midtown redevelopment area. Indication from the property owner is that he's going to proceed with some type of legal action to make sure that this particular property is brought into compliance. That's what he told me on yesterday. We're still addressing the issue with the property next to 836 Orange Avenue.
Did they give you a time frame where this shall take place, or a lifetime?
He didn't give me a time frame. He did tell me that he had contacted a local attorney who did not handle this type of work, but had referred him to an attorney that could handle it. So it is in the process. I did contact legal for the code enforcement department and advised them that I had been in touch with the owner and what his actions were from there. So they are aware of what's going on. I got the information from legal to provide to the property owner to advise them that he now has a lien against that property for $15,000. So we are trying to take some action and eliminate some of these issues. We are working together with code enforcement. A lot of times I get calls from residents in the community, and I contact code, and we go out. Because Mr. Lopez is new to the community, I go out with him and make sure that he feels safe, number one, and number two, that we're addressing the issues that come before us.
Well, I'm glad that you all go out together. You know how I feel. You know, y'all can call me, I'll come with you or whatever, but y'all don't need to do that by yourselves. Right. You don't need to go out by yourself. He doesn't need to go out by himself. Either take the police department or y'all go together. It's always safe in numbers no matter what. I don't care what community you're working in. These days you don't know what may happen. You know? That's true. Go ahead, I'm sorry, Charles.
The next property, 290 North Nova Road, that is the property that's where the mall is. That would be the north end of the mall. The pictures that you see is out front and also behind the back of the mall. There's some issues with the parking lot and painting of buildings at the mall. We had an issue with the scratch and dent store that was there. They moved out. We had another tenant that came in and was trying to move in, but working with zoning, they were not able to open that facility again. So until they do a site plan and bring it before this board, it's been closed down for over 90 days. So they would have to do a site plan to come back before this board before they're allowed to reestablish their business there. There's another picture of the building itself. There's one more. Okay, this is the back part of the mall. The garbage area. There was a lot of holes in the parking lot. There was a lot of garbage, and And like I say, the paint was peeling on the building that I brought to Mr. Lopez awareness. 300 block of Division Lane. We've been dealing with this property for a long time. The owner of this property also lives on, I think it's Keith Street. He has been cited for this particular property and the property, I think, on Keith Street. I passed by the one on Keith Street today. It looked like he had cleaned up some of the debris. I haven't had an opportunity to go back to this one yet, but I know Mr. Lopez is working on them. That's one thing. He's actually out doing a great job, especially he's finding stuff, and then when I make him aware of it, he's going out and inspecting it. This was one 500 block of Loomis and 400 block of Marion. I don't know, this has been eluded me for a while. I don't know, I guess the trees and everything hid this, so I didn't see it. It took me a while to see it, but this is a property that we're going to try to make sure that we get cleaned up. I think is really bad, so we're going to take care of that one. We had some graffiti that was on the benches at Joe Harris Park. That's one of my additional duties, is to look for graffiti in the redevelopment areas. This was one that we found. We got it cleared up through Public Works. They took care of it for us. We don't want it. We don't want graffiti and stuff like that on our buildings, in our redevelopment areas, and especially in our parks. We have kids out there. They don't need to see this. So as soon as I sent the picture for it, they were out there. They took care of it. The next issue was the Halifax wrecking on Marion Street. As you can see from the pictures, that is an issue. They were before a special magistrate this morning. Code enforcement is also back out at that site looking at violations for that particular site. So that's being addressed also.
And this has been going on for some time in this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
10 years?
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
Done other than y'all going out looking, I mean.
There was an issue with the special magistrate this morning.
Okay.
Evidently, code enforcement cited one building in the area, and that building was brought into compliance, so they had to go back out and inspect and cite the other areas and bring back to the Code Enforcement Board.
So now it starts back over again, instead of them dealing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of them dealing with the whole thing at once, they just cited one particular property.
Yeah, it's a lot more in detail. Okay. That went on. I would have to get all the details and bring back to you, but I know that they're being looked at again. 500 block of Orange Avenue. This was a site that is right across the railroad track. If you look at it now, the owner property has been cited. He's actually out today cleaning that site. We had a car wash. I was talking with the owner of the car wash right across the street from that site, and he instructed the property owner at that site that he was actually going to be painting the building. I saw him physically out cutting the grass, trimming, and making. I know a lot of the stuff that was on that site is already been removed. A lot of junk has already been removed from that site. So go to the next one. This is Pearson's grocery store on Orange Avenue. As you can see, it's not actually the store, it's the business next to Pearson, where they had outside mannequins with displays, and that was brought to the attention of code enforcement. That's not allowed in the redevelopment area, and there he's addressed that also. That's the end of my project updates. I would just like to add that I went to the flood meeting last week. I was kind of disappointed as to the turnout. I know we advertised it. I handed out a lot of flyers. We put out a lot of information. I think that, and I would try to continue to make sure that residents in Midtown they need to contact FEMA. We had a lot of changes. I talked to someone tonight that, they need to know if they are in a flood area, they're going to have flood insurance. It's especially going to affect residents that has mortgages. If you were not in a flood area before, all of a sudden you're in a flood area, your insurance payment, your mortgage payment is going to increase because banks are going to add flood insurance, that insurance policy to your mortgage, and it might not be beneficial to you as a borrower from that particular bank, because having been working in banking for 16 years, banks don't usually buy insurance that's going to cover residents. Banks purchase insurance for their own protection. So I want the residents to be aware that this is something that you need to look into. We still have the information at the, I say, workshop that they did at the police department. They actually asked you for your address. They looked it up. They let you know whether or not you was in a flood zone or not. If the map has changed and you're now in a flood zone. So I encourage all our residents to make sure that they contact FEMA to see if they are now in a flood zone, how's that going to affect them. Individually, they need to know. And so most of the people that I saw at the workshop basically knew they was in a flood zone. These were people who had been flooded before, so they knew they was in a flood zone. So I would just like to make sure that everyone, I know we're being televised, so I hope you heed to my advice that pick up the phone, call, find out if you're in a flood zone and how that's going to affect you.
Okay, thank you, Charles. Any comments, board, or questions from Mr. Bryant?
Yes, Mr. Bryant. Flood zones, speaking of the flood zone, and most of the flood zone was not directly in the Midtown area, right?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm asking you to relate to whomever that we would love to have the canal, the old canal, which is on Nova Road, cleaned out and all of the palm trees trimmed from especially past Bellevue there all the way to wherever it stops. I mean, we would love to have beautification in that area also.
Okay. I will make sure that message is relayed. Sorry.
Any more questions of Charles?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask Mr. Bryant, who do you talk to about the speed bumps? Because people have been asking me about them, like Franklin Street, between Orange Avenue and Magnolia, they want speed bumpers.
That's through Public Works.
Okay. Was that Mr. What's his name was here that day?
No.
Sloan?
That was it. No, not today.
Not today. He came to a meeting, Mr.
Yeah.
Sloan.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Franklin Street to
Orange to Magnolia.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to go through the city commissioner for that or directly to Public Works?
We can make a request to Public Works. They will make a determination whether or not they can do it, but I can send a request to them.
They have a list.
Well, as I just said, I'm concerned about a few areas and streets that are not listed in the Midtown area. How they drew up this Midtown, I don't know, but I'm speaking of Now Street, Vernon Street, especially Vernon Street from South Street, since they made that road there. And the street is only large enough for one way. I wouldn't care if they made it one way.
I'll get with you, Ms. Hurd.
Thank you.
Any more questions of Mr. Bryant? Okay. I would too like to say, because I was with Charles when we went to the flood, I was also disappointed because I know how hard Suzanne and the health department worked. They sent out our flyers to all the churches, and Ms. Pat was there. We didn't see a lot of Midtown there. And y'all should understand that FEMA is getting, they're having fund problems, as all of us are, money problems. And after a while, they're going to stop paying you for these flood things. So we need to be vigilant on your property. And this is something that we all need to. And I also want to thank Mr. Harper for writing it in his article. Something you did, right? So that was really good. So we had a lot of participation in that. And I was very disappointed to not see a lot of Midtown people there. I really was. But let's just hope and keep praying. Get on your knees, on your stomach, and on everything. Make sure we don't get no more hurricanes, so we don't have to test that out. Okay, now we go to our last thing, public comments. We need you to come up to the podium, state your name, your address for the record. Charles, number 5, the site plan approval.
Good afternoon, board.
Good afternoon.
I hope you bear with me this afternoon. I got a cold, been had it for a while, so.
Read your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's read your fault.
No excuse.
This is a site plan approval recommendation by from the Midtown Redevelopment Board, site plan DEV 2011-043. This is the applicant and both the owners are here, as I understand it, to address any questions you may have once I do the presentation. Mr. Mark Dowse is the engineer on behalf of the two owners. I'm not going to try to say their names. They're on there, so I don't want to mess up their names, so I will. But anyway, they are here. If you have any questions once the presentation has been made. This is a review application pursuant to the appearance standards for the redevelopment area as required by Article 3, Section 5.1 of the Land Development Code. The project description is an existing commercial building located on the northeast corner of the intersection of South Martin Luther King Boulevard and Wells Street. The applicant is proposing to open a convenience store. The building has been vacant for more than 3 months. The Land Development Code, LDC, Article 5, subdivisions and site plans, Section 4.1, site plans require a site plan for a site that has been vacant for more than 3 months in a redevelopment area. The site plan review, Article 4, Section 8.3 of the LDC, the reviewing body in reviewing the site plan shall consider whether the proposal is consistent with all applicable policies of the comprehensive plan and whether any conflict in policy would be created. The land uses and compatibility. The site is designated office transition on the city's future land use map. Office transition permits primarily office, public schools, and multifamily residential development with densities up to 40 units per acre or floor area, a ratio of 1. The project is a commercial use seeking to occupy an existing commercial structure constructed in 1970 in accordance with applicable zoning and land development codes and in effect at this time. The applicant is solely proposing to occupy the existing structure and not expand the structure. As you can see on the screen, that's an older photo that I took of the property. In your packet, you should have an updated copy of the drawing, what it looks like now, the existing, and what is being proposed by the owner and the applicant tonight. As far as the zoning for this particular project, the current zoning is BA, Business Automotive. The purpose of this district is to provide for the appropriate location of offices, retail sales, and services, and to promote functional groupings of office and commercial uses for the convenience of the public and for the mutual benefit of uses within each district. Retail sales and service convenience stores is a permitted use. Site landscaping. The proposed landscaping plan is for an existing developed site. The LDC requires sites and redevelopment area be brought into compliance with the landscape requirements in Article 18, Section 2, to the greatest extent possible based on the physical constraints of the site. The constraints of the site with the existing structure and pavement area allows for lot premier landscaping. The landscaping plan complies with the requirements in the LDC. You should have attached copy of that, of the landscape plan. I think I did put a copy in your packet for your review. As far as signage, the applicant is proposing a wall and pole sign which is permitted that would meet the LDC requirements and redevelopment design standards for signs. Stormwater drainage, the stormwater management plan complies with the requirements in the LDC. The project site is located within flood zone X according to the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Utilities, the project has adequate capacity to serve the project. The applicant will have to install a backflow preventer. Design guidelines and requirements for redevelopment districts. The following is a summary and a staff response for the standards of Article 12, Section 2.1 of the Land Development Code. Project architecture. The existing building is designed in a commercial vernacular style of architecture. The applicant is proposing to renovate the exterior of the building to improve its appearance. The proposal is for a set of doors to be removed and a large storefront window installed to improve the front facade. The faucet master roof will be replaced with a modern storefront parapet wall along the top of the building. The applicant is not proposing any building additions to related to new construction. The paint colors will comply with the approved colors for the redevelopment areas. As I stated before, you should have a copy of what the building looks like now, the existing part of the building, and what is being proposed. Staff recommends that the Midtown Redevelopment Board approve the site plan for the project known as Omar Amin property. I hope I didn't mess up too bad. Located at 719 South Martin Luther King Boulevard. With that, we do have the applicant and the owners that are here present tonight that be able to address any questions you may have.
Madam Chair. Yes. I'd like to make a motion to continue this item.
To continue.
Motion to continue it.
So move.
All those in favor?
Well, 1 second, please. Would the applicant like to be heard at all?
Well, I mean, before we don't go through this again, one thing that we talked to staff about before is that before you bring an action item to the board, we need a chance to have a discussion on the item. Again, we're not having a discussion on it. When I sit back and look at what we're getting ready to have immediately after this on item number 6 on our agenda is a discussion item. dealing with these different type things. So I want to have an intelligent discussion with the Midtown Board about how we're going to proceed as far as to bringing convenience stores and things in. Now, however, I do know that he can still present. I do agree on that, but at the same time, I would like for this item to be continued. And I made a motion that it be continued.
And I did second it.
And as we have a motion and a second on the floor, all those in favor?
We do have to, before you act on the item, you have to give the applicant an opportunity to be heard. It's their due process right.
But the motion still stands on the floor, though, correct?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Mark Doust, and I'm a project engineer with the firm Mark Doust & Associates. Our offices are located at 536 North Halifax. We're the engineers, surveyors, and landscape architects for this project. I'm pleased to be here tonight representing Mr. Razul and Mr. Imam. They are the owners of the building, and they've been through a process before even coming here. Obviously, they bought the building. Before they bought the building, they checked with the city, various departments, reviewed the codes, and were told that they could operate a convenience store in this location. With that, they went ahead and started through the process, and they hired us. The property was surveyed, and the designs were done. We worked with the redevelopment to do an updating of the building, and also worked with LDC staff to bring the site into landscaping compliance. There's a number of, well, if you've been out there, you notice there was graffiti, which has been since removed. You have all the usual problems that you have when you have a vacant building existing within a neighborhood. The chain link fences will come down as part of this, and the site will be re-landscaped, and it will be a credit to the neighborhood. You heard from the police department that they don't see any problems with convenience stores. They see them providing a needed service to the community. We have two owners who are committed to providing a good service. I know some of the concerns that have been brought up in the past, and not necessarily in this hearing, but in previous ones, or that they are a magnet for crime. And I think that all hinges on who runs it and if they follow the compliance of city guidelines when it comes to enforcement, preventing loitering, and all those kinds of things. The owners that you have before you have put pretty much their life savings into this project. They want it to succeed. They want it to be an asset to the community, and they will work very hard to make sure that's exactly what occurs. That being said, time is going by, and they own the property right now, so it is an economic hardship to continue carrying the property and be delayed. We are concerned about any additional delays with this project and would like you to consider the site based upon its merits. It is a permitted use within this classification, and we would ask that you review this site tonight and render a decision. I'm available for any questions, and so is the applicants, the owners.
Board, do you all have any questions of Mr. Dowse?
I have questions.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
I need the owners to come up.
Would one of you like to come up and address the question?
Both owners? Are they both owners?
The co-owners.
Come on up.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, board members. I'm the Mahbubur Rasul Ahsanullah. Is the owner.
Okay. We weren't, we'll take that action item up with staff. I have 5 questions, and regardless if you answer them or not, I need you to consider them because you're coming into an African American community, and we are a people that have been bombarded with convenience stores. The average citizen in Midtown has to travel 8 miles to Walmart, 8 miles to Winn-Dixie, 6.5 to Publix for quality merchandise. My first question is, why did you choose this site?
Actually, because this area, people they don't have any like car or something. Most of the people don't have. Actually, that's why. It's business opportunity. Actually, that's why it's business opportunity. And other thing, as a lot of people say, they like Publix, like 7-Eleven, like Walmart. Actually, people they don't buy that much stuff. Whatever they go for Walmart, buy convenience store. Actually, we sell like beer, like cigarettes, like other stuff. If you go Walmart, like one pack cigarette is $7, $8. If you go 7-Eleven, one pack cigarette $7. If you go 7-Eleven, 1 4-pack natural ice like $4.50. The convenience store over there they're selling $3. The cigarette they're selling $5. So just I think that we're saving people money.
So it's a convenient for you to sell things that other stores sell, and you assume that that's the only thing that we consume is beer and cigarettes. My next question is, where do you all live?
I live in Port Orange.
Port Orange.
Yeah.
Port Orange. So you're going to have a business in Daytona, have economic gain, and take your money to another city. My next question is...
I used to live in Daytona over there.
Yeah. And still we work in Daytona Beach. We work in Daytona Beach.
Okay, the reason why I asked that question, just to be honest with you, the word convenience stores, we have 52 in Daytona Beach already. The majority of the convenience stores in the African American community, black community, low income communities, communities where people can barely pay their rent and have money to pay for prescriptions and pay for food.
That's right.
They settle in our neighborhoods and make our money, and you take your money and go back to another community. My next question is, how many jobs, excuse me? How many jobs economically will you create in Midtown where a young man or a young woman can come to work and be paid an honest wage and claim and fill out a W-2 and claim taxes at the end of the year? Not somebody that comes by and you chunk them some change so they can get some cigarettes and beer. Economically, how many jobs are you going to create through your business? Not family, but through people in this area.
Actually, we are the part of the community too. Actually, we are creating job ourselves too, and we provide some people job too. Actually, we are the part of community too. We are your citizen too.
You're a part of our community, but you don't reside and pay taxes in Daytona Beach. Do
I'm
you?
paying tax. I have property over there. I'm paying tax.
Okay. The next question is, how will you treat your customers?
Honorable, we treat our customer. Everybody said, like we are friend, like we are sister, like we are brother. A lot of people know us. We treat our customer honorable. We treat our customer. We never disrespect our customer. Businessman can disrespect customer.
My next question, and it goes back to your opening statement about the price comparison between your convenience store and a grocery store chain. What will you sell in that store that's convenient for someone to walk to that will benefit their household? And I'm saying fresh produce, fresh meat, everyday household items that are economically priced.
Yes.
Because the experience with convenience stores in Midtown, you're overpriced, outdated merchandise, you clean when you open up, and within a certain amount of months, it's dirty, it stinks, the quality of the food goes down. So it's basically take it if you want it, but the one thing that is sold, cigarettes, beer, lottery tickets, 25-cent bag of potato chips, and the nickel and dime candy. I'm just going to be up front with you. Make a step above the regular convenience store.
It's not really.
It's not going to be the beautification in the parking lot. I want to see a quality convenience store.
Exactly. I mean, the convenience store means they will serve to the everything is, the quality product.
has to be. All businessmen is not like that, I think, you know. I agree with you, some of like that. Yeah, whoever is the real businessman, whoever want to do the business with the people and they serve to community, the people, they will not do that. You know, like milk, cereal, and all those whatever the people need every morning. You know, we will try to sell that is very cheap. We don't need that much money. You know.
Oh, you don't need that much money?
No.
So
no, just we want to survive. Just we want to survive
in our neighborhood.
You know, just we want to survive. Whenever we will see whatever money we will survive, we will making our price like that.
And this is not me personally, because I'm not a convenience store person, but I get phone calls. I had a parent who sent a child to the store to get 1 can of corn, and he brought her back $1.79. Now, whether the child got something and ate it on the way home and threw the receipt away, but I went to the store, you know what I found out? Not one item in that store had a ticket on it or on the shelf. Tallahassee, the state of Florida, says the item must have a ticket on it or on the shelf so that the consumer knows, versus children that go to stores and people that go to stores. One day the hot sausage is 79 cents, the next day it's $1. This is my concern.
But whoever is doing like that, ma'am, those people are not.
It's widespread. It's widespread. We can meet. I can take you around.
But we can promise that. You always knows that where it is they're going to be that store. We can promise with you, all of the board member, who will
We are not doing that. I am assuring you. We are assuring you. You can try that.
Okay, and here's my next question. We've been having workshops, 2 years now, a year, concerning redevelopment and getting our master plan together. And it's been open to the public. It's been on television, newspaper, community news, channel 199. And it amazes me, the people that come and want us to approve things in our neighborhood, but we never see them at our meetings, and once they get approval, they never come back, and they never support our community. You want us to come and support your store, but what are you going to do for the neighborhood? And based on these questions that I just asked you, I didn't get the answers I was looking for, but maybe when you go back to the drawing board, it'll be a change. You know, it'll be something that's discussed, that these people mean for businesses in Midtown to stand up to what they say they're going to do. I don't know you. I have nothing against you. I wish you the best of luck if this should prosper. But these are questions that you need to think about when you go back.
We'll try to show the community. We will try to show what we are doing, and maybe we can be example to the community.
Maybe.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I think I have one question to ask. After this has been discussed with the board, I would like to know, just for curiosity, where would you purchase your milk from? Will you have T.G. Lee truck to come in? Or will you be going to CVS, buying it on sale, and bringing it back to the community?
Easily, actually. Easily.
Okay, I understand. T.G. Lee, okay, at Borders. I'm asking you this because I see it happening. People go to CVS, the whole family. When I say whole family, maybe 4 or 5 of them. They buy the limited number of gallons of milk that is on sale. They take it back to the community and sell it. One night, I followed a fella from Save-A-Lot. He purchased about over $200 of goods. And I'm driving by myself, but I wasn't afraid. I followed him all the way to the location where his store is. And I said, And I just cannot believe that people will go out and buy and bring it back to the neighborhood and charge triple what they purchase.
I agree, some of them did, I think. Whatever you say, I agree. But we will not do that.
Well, it all depends on the outcome of the board, and if it's positive, believe me, I will be there. Okay?
Any more questions, board?
I have some comments.
Go ahead.
Oh, one question. How long have you owned this property?
We bought it last May.
Last May, so that has been more than three months, right?
More than 3 months.
Okay.
6 months.
Yeah. Madam Chair.
Yes.
There's a convenience store, 580 Bellevue Avenue. That's close to where you want to open up, right?
Yes. Less than 500 feet.
Less than 500 feet. Okay.
He don't open regularly, actually.
Excuse me?
That
I mean, he's not regular.
Actually. Sometimes he opens, sometimes
Most of the
he
time
doesn't.
he shuts the store. Saturday, Sunday, he's totally shut down the
Well,
store.
6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, he goes sometimes.
I understand when he closes, and he has a reason for closing. First of all, is how you treat your customers. And be careful what you say, because you don't know who is standing in the back of you listening. They have been in the community a long time. Good luck to you if you succeed.
I think Ken had it.
Ken?
I have some comments. Obviously, you've stepped into a situation that you're unprepared to respond to at this time, so I concur very strongly with Mr. Ivy's suggestion that we table this.
And, Madam Chair, like,
Is that him? You done?
No.
oh, sorry.
As a board, we are tasked with the responsibility to do our level best to improve the quality of this community. Now, one of the things that we have been dealing with I've been on this board for 14 years, and we've always dealt with the problems that arise with the congregation and loitering at convenience stores. I purposely asked that question of the police department this evening, and I was surprised at the comments that I got. However, they gave you good advice. Talk to the police department up front. And secondly, this area on Martin Luther King, we as a board are trying to get it, and this lies in this program that we've been working on now for well over a year, trying to develop a corridor of business and retail on Martin Luther King. I don't know that what your store will do in terms of enhancing that, but we are very concerned about it. I read in here in Mr. Bryant's report that this is a office transition area. In other words, as I would understand this, Reed, we're looking for business and retail, and if that were passed, this would be I'm looking for a word.
This would be a compatible business and office transition.
Okay. But that's still a concern that I have. I personally don't view it as something that we visualized as a board occurring by our choice of how we would like to see MLK develop. It doesn't fit my idea of the character that we're looking for. But that's very personal. You have to pay a bit of attention to it. We have an article that was given to us tonight from the Department of Health, and there is some concern. This is to back up the discussion that we had about the quality of the goods that are sold, and this will apply to your store. And in here it says only 8% of African Americans live in a consensus tract with a supermarket compared to 31% of whites. Nationally, low-income zones or codes have 30% more convenience stores. And I'm not building any further except for one item. It says, we need some help of bringing healthy food, reasonable prices, and along with the convenience that you're going to offer. And one of the ways that is suggested here is by increasing the stock of fruits, vegetables, and other healthy foods at neighborhood corner stores or small groceries. I think we should expect that from you all. So when you come back, if you could, please address these issues.
Yes, so we'll put all those things in our mind and we will do that. And personally, me and my partner, we are inviting all of you that whenever we will start the business, come all, see us, insist us, and if you have any solution, give us, who will do that.
Ken, are you done?
I am.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Again, I'm just addressing this to staff. This is why I think it's very important that when we have action items, that we have a discussion period, just as we're working through master plan, working through the LDC, working through any approvals that comes to the committee, because we only meet once a month. Unless it's in a workshop and it's presented during that workshop period, it will give us the opportunity so they can ask questions back and forth where we can discuss it before we actually make a decision. And I think when I was sitting back looking at the city commission meeting, one of the things that some of the commissioners were talking about was having enough information in order to make an intelligent decision. As we sit here, we're getting ready, you're asking us to make a decision, and then we're going to come back and have a discussion on the decision that we just made. So that's why another reason why I'm saying we need to continue this, but we can have a discussion with it, and then we'll come back with the action for they'll be able to move forward once we get through with that. So at this point, Madam Chair, I would like for us to lead a motion on the floor. I think it's been second. Ask for the vote. And
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interject before he was finished, but if this prospers, they will be convenience store number 7 on MLK. That'll be 7 between ISB and Bellevue. Factual.
We have a motion on the floor.
If I may address.
We have a motion right now, Mr. Dowse, hold on, to continue this item. And I think that the board needs to vote on this.
I need to discuss the options of continuance and what options we have before us, if I may.
Go ahead.
Okay. I understand the issue is not that we're meeting the current codes, because we do meet the current codes. I understand the issue is not that a convenience store is not allowed. I understand the issue, I believe, is whether or not you want a convenience store, period, in this location. Is that correct?
We have not discussed it yet. So once we go in section and have our discussion, we ask you to come back and we'll let you know what we've come up with.
If I may ask a question of the attorney, what are my options? They're on a time frame. They've expended financial monies.
It's kind of an interesting dilemma, because I don't know that you can appeal a motion to continuance. I would advise the board that the decisions that are made on the following item will not pertain to this property. So I just wanted to advise the board that you should be deciding whether you have enough information to evaluate the criteria as to whether it's, has the correct zoning, landscape, site plan, those kind of issues. That's my recommendation.
Are you done, or do you have something else?
We would ask that in light of the position stated tonight, that you go ahead and take this to a vote to give us an ability to appeal this item rather than continue us.
The motion that's on the floor is to continue this item, and we're going to take a vote on the continuance of the item. And
Do we have
now-
any options?
We can try to talk tomorrow. At this point, I think, I don't know if you'd have to go to court immediately, or if you could appeal to the city commission.
All right.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to continue it. All those in favor of continuing this item?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This item will be continued as per the board's vote.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Board comments? Go ahead, Pat. Board comments? Because I'm changing it up this time. Go ahead, Ms. Hurd, if you have something to say.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for still sitting here. I would like to say I feel as though we've had a fruitful meeting, and hopefully the young men did not feel offended or anything, but you all know that we are on top of everything that goes on in Midtown, especially down in the bottom. I'm going to check things out, and hopefully it's not published too much in the from the secretary there that food and other items are purchased from other stores and resold in the community. But that is being done. We have to be careful of the food that we buy. Look at the dates on it. But overall, everything has been well taken care of. And if I don't be here October the 11th, that's because I'll be too tired to come in. Have a good
We
night.
won't accept that, Miss Pat. We need your presence. Now, we want you to have a good time wherever you're going, but we want your presence. Oh, don't you dare. Ms. Benjamin.
Good afternoon. I'm very pleased with the audience this afternoon. I'm glad you came out and the input is good. We're here to help you. We don't want to make any decision by ourselves. We want your input. Peggy, I'm glad you're coming home. Thank you again. Have a wonderful time. I'm ready to go.
Well, I'm sorry. You got to wait to hear
going
about
with Shirley.
No, I'm last. Ms. Ivy?
Again, Madam Chair, I'd like to also thank the people for coming out this evening. Some of the comments that I'm really concerned about that we're working on, some of the corridors of Midtown is very important that we clean it up, make it safe, that we address the lighting issues. I've looked at the paint on the crosswalks at ISB and MLK and Lincoln. I asked about that 3 months ago, and it still looks like it's ran down already. So I wish, again, we would get with the streets department, have them repaint where we just spend over $1 million and something. At least we can keep that small part clean. Also, some lights out in that new area also by Lincoln and ISB. So I would appreciate if we would check that out. Some of the things that we really need to pay attention to as a board too is I'm wondering when they get ready to do the redistricting in the city, will it affect? How will it affect the Midtown area, or are we going to get new boundaries and different things of that nature too? So I will hope that when they starting it late. I mean, we haven't heard anything on dealing with the redistricting of the city when it comes to the zoning. I know the city commission zones are going to change. The county zones are changing. So we need to look at how would that affect our board. One of the things I try to do is I am fully committed to Midtown Daytona. And one thing I do, I try to read all the information that is given. I even seek out information that is not given. I try to attend a lot of the meetings that goes on throughout this community, for we can have the facts and address the issues that are concerned to our community. And one thing I do try to understand, and after 15 years of being in the military, the one thing I understand is the process, and I know how to follow the law. So when I sit up here, and if you don't know the process, then don't question the process. Go learn the process. So I know as a board member, the one thing we have up here is the right to voice our opinion. We have a right to continue any item that we deem necessary to continue in order to discuss. So when it comes to making a decision, although it has met the guidelines of what staff has presented, that does not stop us from having a discussion on those guidelines. So nobody can tell us, well, just vote it up or down. No, if we want to discuss it, we're going to discuss it as a board. So that should resonate throughout the community when you come here. Stop bringing us half information. Give us the time to dissect the information. I don't care if it takes a year. A law isn't written in one day or one meeting. It goes through Congress. It goes through the Senate. It goes back and forth. So there's no difference as an advisory board if we give or make a decision that goes to the CRA or the city commission. Hopefully we done did our homework, because a lot of times their package could be this thick or that thick, and they're relying on us that we made an intelligent decision. So another thing I think that we need to have at our board for we can discuss some things is, like the other boards, we should have a monthly update of the budget also for our Midtown area, because we never really know what's being spent and how it's being spent, or what's the status of what we have allocated to spend. Okay, so I think we should really have a copy of the budget for Midtown on a monthly basis like they do at the other boards. But outside of that, I really think we're doing the right things in this community, and I think we are making a difference as a board in this community, and I hope we continue to stick together as a board in this community. That's all I have.
Good evening. The question that I asked someone the other day, and they were totally surprised with the way I put the question. And the question was, do you have a child in private school? No. I said, yes, you do. Do you have a child that lives in the suburbs, or as we say it, the upper class neighborhood? They said, no, I don't. I said, well, when you go into a convenience store or any store in our neighborhood, and the owner doesn't live here and he doesn't contribute back, hair store, convenience store, gas station, they come and work here, but they take their money home. We never see them settle down in our neighborhood and know that their kids play with our kids on the street. The majority of their children are in private school. So they gain from us all the way around. I don't harp about where do you live, how many jobs is it going to create. I do that because we know right here, a rock's throw, there are at least 400 people that need a job. But when we allow people to come in and run the business, make the money, take the money home, and put it in another community, how has that benefited us? I have nothing against anybody being a business owner and making it. But we've just allowed this trend to go on and on and on. I appreciate the attendance because it took a newspaper article to wake Midtown up. And once the business owners and the residents came out to find out that we're not a board trying to shut anybody down, what we want you to know is that when you come into Midtown, there's a certain level of quality that you need to bring. And don't bring it for the grand opening, but continue it. And for clarification, I'm going to try to say this as plain as I can. We get these packs we read them, we come ready to discuss. But when we see something that we have no idea about, I don't think you all should feel that we're being wrong with wanting an understanding, but when other parts of the city administration has led this party to believe, we'll just go to them, we recommend that they approve it, and they don't get the answer they want, then it's said that we're wrong. It's not right. We shouldn't do that. But I think as a board, we should be allowed to discuss and get as much information as we can before we approve these things. And it goes back to that business that's sitting empty on Franklin Street, the auto tent shop. He wasn't in business 6 months. We discussed and discussed and discussed. He lived in Palm Coast. The guy had property in Miami and New York. They came into Midtown with this big, brilliant idea. And that big, brilliant idea is sitting empty. So I think as a board, I don't want anybody to feel like from the city staff that we're saying we don't have time to read because of the short time that we have when we receive our pack. What we want you all to understand is in the process of these people coming to the city before they ever get to us, they're coming in here with, okay, I have a check of approval. I just need this group to see what I'm getting ready to do. Other than that, I appreciate being on this board. And Mr. Bryant and Reed, I just applaud you for, outside of your regular job, the effort you put in to make this board what it is. And like I said, we're just going to fight until we get what we need. And hopefully, as Pastor Gooden said, we can talk, we can preach, we can sing, but we need some money. And these other redevelopment areas don't look like that because they just said, let's do it. They look that way because they have the economical backing to look that way. And if we're going to be one city, they need to consider it's time for them to invest in Midtown. I'll be leaving the city and returning in 2 weeks, so if you call that meeting, call me. I'll talk to you over the phone if that's permitted. Is that sunshine law violation?
I don't. Some people are allowed to appear by phone. I think there's a city policy on it that we don't. You know, if you're not here, you don't unless it's like required.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I get the last word. I'm not going to make this long because everybody want to go home. Basically, I, too, would like to thank Mr. Bryant. As always, he's always there at my beck and call, and I call a lot. I have a lot of questions. I beg to differ with Pastor Gooding on us not having enough time or not being informed. I eat this, I sleep this, I do this 7 days a week because I want my community to look better, and I know it can be. We have great people. The Browns are wonderful people. I applaud their stick-to-itiveness, and they want to do stuff, and that's good because that's what we need in our community. And I welcome you all for being here. I love the health department for helping us, and we have to partner with a lot of different entities. I've talked to the chamber. I'm trying to get us some membership to the chamber or a membership to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm always talking to people to try to help this board to be taken seriously because I don't think we're taken seriously. I think we all do our homework. We read and reread and reread. I talked to Charles. I talked to Reed Berger. He was so happy that Charles came back because I talked to him last week and he was going, oh my God, poor Charles. So that's just the way it is. When I want to know something, I'm going to ask them. I'm going to call. I'm going to find out. I'm going to go to meetings. I've been doing this over 10 years. So I just now come here. It's just that maybe a lot of people don't know me, but I've been in the trenches a long time. And I think we all have to keep on plotting, even though it gets hard, it gets difficult, and we can say no. And it encumbers all things, not just certain things, but all things. And I'm going to always be one who, if I feel that it's not right for my community, I'm going to say it. And that's the way it's going to be. And hopefully we will continue to stick together, work hard, because it's going to take some hard work. Yeah, it's going to take money. But first of all, we got to get the plan together. The money going to flow if we got a plan to show somebody. Y'all know that. Y'all more business people than me. Y'all know that. We got to buy out more property. I've been telling Reed, let's buy out property in the Midtown area. We need to do that. We need to ask for quality. Like everybody said, we want quality. We don't want to just dump anything here. And that's been going on for far too long. We're not taking that anymore. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. All right, all those opposed?